You are now entering a dangerous liberty zone where God-given natural rights are held sacred and exercised. This is your warning. Tyranny, fascism, and censorship will not be tolerated. Ideas will be exchanged freely. Rigorous debate and open discourse is encouraged. If you are weak and your beliefs are fragile, you should leave now. Prepare yourself. We are now live on the Dangerous Liberty Podcast. What's happening, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Dangerous Liberty Podcast, where we know the only thing more dangerous than liberty is the lack thereof.
Yeah.
What's going on, Summer? How was your week?
It's good.
Chris, how was your week?
We're getting there.
Yeah? J-Dog?
Pretty good. Penn State beat West Virginia on Saturday, so that was a good day.
And you were there.
I was there. That was
nice.
That was a great game, great day. Super hot.
Nice. I didn't know you went to the game.
Yeah. It was
good for you, bud.
It was really good.
All right. Hey, we want to welcome everybody, both present and in the future. Again, make sure you guys are checking us out live if you're watching this in the future. We get lots of views on it after we actually go live on this. So, again, make sure you come join the conversation so that you can actually be part of all the discussions that we have. I want to welcome everybody that's actually here now. Jason's sponsor, Joe Kramer, John Esmond. John, it was just such a great time training with you this weekend, getting to meet you. You look nothing like your profile picture, I'll tell you that. I mean, I didn't even know who you were. I was looking for what you had on the profile picture.
I'm looking for a golden.
Dan Alonzo, John Hopen, Willie Everett, Jason's sponsor. Same thing with you, Jason, man. It was just great to finally meet you, get to hang
Jeff
out.
on,
Of course,
see?
Jason left with the Top Gun Cup. So congratulations.
Yes, he did.
Nice.
Awesome.
If you haven't seen his culmination run video on the Gary posted
I watched it.
for winning Top Gun, it was pretty impressive.
Smoked it.
Good job, Jason.
Lloyd Castleton, Jeff Hahn, Alaska Andy, good to see you guys. Anybody I miss up there?
Jeff said I'm looking intense.
Summer's always
She's
looking
always
intense.
intense.
I said some mean things
Jeez.
to her that she has issue with.
By the way, I'm glad when you guys congratulate Jason's sponsor because it's the only time I hear "good job, Jason" around here.
He's gonna watch this back over and over to hear good
just
job,
gonna make
Jason.
I'm gonna make it a
sound bite out of it.
He's going to turn that to his ringtone.
Good job, Jason.
Good job, Jason. Good job, Jason. Awesome. Yeah. So anyways, man, we had an awesome long-range level 1 this past weekend. We had 14 great students, and so many traveled from out of town. And again, we appreciate the opportunity to get to spend time with you. Hopefully you guys got a lot out of it. I know it's not very obvious to you guys, but we changed up the curriculum and obviously changed up the training locations. And I think whether you realize it or not, it worked out a lot better. Being able to get that day 1 out there on that flat range with the berms, I think made a huge change. Tim G, welcome. And we are going to be changing up at least long range level 2, not this iteration that's coming up, but in the future, we are definitely going to be doing long range level 2 at a different location. That'll give us a little bit more opportunity to train with wind. Peacemaker and Frontier Range is awesome. It's a beautiful training location, but it's not the location definitely to be able to see and call for wind. But anyways, we had a great time. And
Is
can't
that
wait.
just because the wind's so variable there between the mountains?
No, it's
or-
because you don't have any terrain features to look at wind.
Mm.
You're shooting over a large gap.
Yeah.
So
You already
there's-
have an idea where you're going?
What's that?
You already have the idea where you're going?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep. I'm going to go out and do a site survey of that location in the next couple of weeks. We've already had some instructors out there. I've got videos and pictures of it as well, but I think it's going to be great. So being able to have some flat terrain to look over as opposed to, because the other thing, folks, and I know I'm getting off, when you shoot above a tree line or as you go up into an elevation, just from one spot to another, where you're at, wind might be 5 miles an hour, but we have a wind gradient. So as you go up over a tree line, now you have nothing blocking the wind. So as you go up in elevation, the wind is getting higher and higher. And, honestly, where we're shooting at ends up being, with max ordnance of the round, there's probably times when that round is probably 200-300 feet above the ground.
Gotcha.
So, and you can't see that wind as you're looking at the target. So it's a challenge.
And that wind does whip out there a lot.
It
of
does.
Oh my gosh.
Does a lot of
It was
craziness.
Sunday too.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great place to learn wind, though. I mean, it really is.
It's literally not a great place.
That's why he's not going there anymore.
It's a great place to shoot at distance and then to make corrections.
And have wind in your
But
hand.
you
That's
can't
kinda what I
see.
mean.
You really can't see the wind between you and the target. You can see mirage, but you don't know what you're looking at because you don't
Is
have
that
any
just
back.
because you don't? And I'm sorry if I sound stupid, but I don't.
Me neither, Somerset. Go ahead, because
So
I'm listening to
is
it.
that just because you can't see the wind at the level or the altitude you're shooting at in the trees or the bushes or the?
No, you can't
when
see.
you say
So
you
I can
can't-
see the wind at the target.
Sure.
I can see the wind where we're at.
Right, but in
I
between.
can't see in between. So normally if you're shooting over, let's say grass or something like that, number one, there's
That's
enough.
what I mean.
There's enough.
You can see the wind moving what you're shooting. Like if you had a flatter.
The whole time.
Yeah.
The whole way.
Well, on top of that, what you're really looking for is mirage and looking up into a sky, which is basically what we're doing. If I'm looking between us and the target, you can't see the
See
mirage.
That makes sense.
And so you can't see the movement of that. So anyways, it's just not the best place to learn to be able to see to use mirage to see wind. And even those other places too, you can help students train by seeing grass, and then you can also put out things like flagging tape so that they
Yeah.
can see the direction of the wind, and you can use that flagging tape and other training aids that will make an association between what you're seeing in an optic as far as mirage, and be like, okay, that flagging tape, or even you can even put wind meters out there. It's like, all right, the wind is 5 miles an hour. This is what mirage looks like moving at 5 miles an hour.
Got
Or
it.
this is what mirage looks like moving 8 miles an hour from a right to a left, left to right, whatever it is. So, anyways,
That's what I thought. You answered my question. Whereas you can see what the wind's doing, at the grass or the trees or
sure.
whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's interesting.
Christian Clark, welcome, buddy. Welcome. Yeah, Jason said it wasn't that hard to do.
Apparently.
He smoked it. Yeah.
smoked
No.
it.
Again, we had a great course. And I appreciate everybody traveling as far as they did. I also really liked the idea. Jason, Richard, and John came out a day early, and we were able to kind of work on some of our guns, setting up the student guns. They came and gave me a hand out the range, and we also were able to work on some of their guns. I'm almost looking at maybe
Doing like a.
incorporating a day zero or a day ahead of time where we can work on people's guns. We'll take a look at that. Buzz, what's going on, Buzz? Good to see you, buddy.
Yep.
Yeah, so we had a great week. It was a lot of fun, and I think we got med course this weekend, and then the following weekend we got long range level 2, don't we? Or is it the week after?
No, well, we got med course, then we got defensive handgun. It's our last defensive handgun series
Yep.
for this season.
What?
Yep. And
God, this year's
then,
flying by.
It is. And
It's
then,
almost Christmas.
And then we have off-road next.
Yep.
And then we have long range level 2.
Cool.
And then we have long range level 1.
So another big announcement, folks, next Wednesday, and I'll end up probably tomorrow. I'll go ahead and make the thumb for it and all that stuff and create the podcast. But next Wednesday, we're going to have a special guest, the owners of Fat Boy Tripods, and we're going to go ahead and do our giveaway for Fat Boy Tripods next Wednesday.
What?
And we're going to do it live. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And it'll be really cool to talk to Casey and Connor. You guys,
Are they gonna be here? Be on virtually?
they're going to be on virtually.
Yeah,
I believe they're in Idaho.
They're pretty far away.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, I know.
No.
At least I'll wear the shirt that you gave me that has my name on it. Then
Yep.
Next week.
Yep.
It literally says Fat Boy across it.
Well, when I was setting up the podcast, I was like, hey, you guys going to be available? I was like, not only are we going to do the giveaway, but it'd be cool to, have you guys on, talk about how you guys met, how you formed the company, which one of you the company's named after.
Awesome. Gary's the funniest person he's ever met.
Oh my god.
Hilarious. Hilarious.
Oh dang.
Yeah. So
I like what Mike Hen's saying too.
I don't know yet, but I got to look at those numbers real quick. I haven't had a chance to do a cool video for that. It's going to take it's going to be anytime we have a new course like that. That's kind of outside of the normal
If
wheelhouse.
you need help taking that video, let me know. I'll call. I will
I will.
off work.
I will.
call
And I will
off
hold the camera.
Take some marketing time, so we'll see
me
how
know.
that looks.
Looks like it's looking a little rocky, Mike Ken.
one. Oh my
Oh dear
God.
God.
Jesus.
Bring your Tesla, Jay.
So if we were ever going to have a show where I think the audience needs to be really incorporating this and throwing out questions, comments, and again, just reminiscing what has happened over the last couple years is definitely tonight's, because what we have tonight, and again, the topic of this is COVID's back, which I find
Conveniently.
hilarious, suspicious. Chris actually brought up some really good points that I hadn't thought about
Good
earlier.
job, Chris.
Chris, he's always contributing. But yeah, he Jason, not so much, unless you want sound effects.
Chris almost choked.
Took a drink.
He almost
A wild turkey hit
I'll tell you, Chris, you sir are, we could not replace you.
I mean,
We could not
you
replace you.
could,
And
but
so,
I appreciate you
Summer, I
saying that.
couldn't replace you.
Oh, he had to throw that in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Summer is looking intense tonight.
Had to throw it in there.
So we got right now in Maryland, we already have mask mandates coming back to some schools, right outside of DC.
Well, you know where that's going to lead to.
What's that?
It's going to lead to mandatory testing at school.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
what's going to
That's
happen?
fancy. Who's paying for that?
I don't know. Probably FEMA. But
I'm sure.
you know why though?
They did in the
Because
past.
the parents are not going to want to test their kids and
Nope.
admit that they have COVID, because then they can't send them to school, and then they're going to make them wear a mask. So they're not going to test their kids or tell the school if they're positive for COVID. So they're going to implement mandatory testing at school.
Yeah,
Guaranteed.
I think they're going to bring all of it back, and that's what it's looking like.
It's just how quick.
No,
That's the thing.
That's
How
true.
fast can
I'm
they
just not going
instill
to
it?
send my kids to
Well,
school
you
if
know,
there's a mask.
the reality is, I think
You
there's
gonna
probably
homeschool
some
I'll bring Remington over.
multiple think tanks talking about how they can implement this correctly so they can achieve the goals that they want without turning the populace against them. I don't think there's any. Well, I'll say this, and when I was talking about this, I posted about this on YouTube and a couple other places, talking about how COVID's back. I got into a conversation with one person talking about, it really is disappointing to see how compliant Americans become so quickly. And on top of that, how quickly and how eager so many people are to police their fellow citizen. You guys know you had people come up to you in grocery stores and everything else telling you, how you had to have a mask on.
They didn't me. I was looking to.
Why don't you have yours on?
And one of the conclusions I came to while I was talking to him about that, COVID made me realize how 1940s Germany came about, how the
Sure.
Nazi Party came to be. When you have good, normal citizens somehow coerced, tricked into turning into brown shirts and turning on their own fellow citizens.
I like that.
I mean,
brown
seriously,
shirts.
I mean, that's what happened.
But
And we always think that we here in America would never do that. And all these asshats out there that think they would never, they would, if they lived in Germany in the 1940s, they would be the people that would stand up against the Nazi regime. They're the worst ones. They're the ones that would fall in compliance so quickly, so fast, and be ratting out anyone that they ever knew as quickly as possible. Be like, Anne Frank's right over there, guys. That's where she is. She's right up there.
I don't think
I heard her. I think
don't-
she's writing a
Can't even get
diary.
away.
I don't think it's going to go the same this time. I think
hope not.
I don't think
people
so
got
either.
so frustrated and angry
Yeah.
about the way it went last time and the way it was drug out forever.
Yeah.
2 weeks turned into 2 years. I think
Yeah.
everybody this time would be like, we're
I
not
think-
falling for that
yeah.
crap
Well, and
again.
that's-
100%. That's what I think.
And that's what I was kind of starting this out with is I would like to think that, and I do generally think that, but again, I've been so disappointed in the reaction of so many Americans. Like, I'm not sure, without a doubt, there'll be a larger contrast. There'll be the people that are
I'll say
enforcing
that
this
one.
stuff.
Yes, that's.
And
I
then
like
there's
it.
definitely people that remain quiet and compliant to some extent.
It'll be more polarizing.
They're going to definitely be more vocal, be more resistant. And then you have still that whole group of people that are just going to go along to get along. Like, what's the
and-
big deal? It's just a mask. I'm going to wear it. I don't want to piss anybody off.
Yeah, who
Listen,
cares?
Like-
in the words of Bush, right? Fool me once. Joke's on you. fool me twice. Well, you ain't gonna fool me again.
I think that might
I'm
be.
glad we stopped that conversation.
Cool.
Look it up.
No,
I don't need
saw
to.
it.
I
We
just
all
heard you
saw
say it.
I think it's easy also to be here where we are and in our environment and in our area
Sure.
and think, okay, well, there's going to be plenty of people that are going to be like, screw
That's
that.
the thing.
Oh yeah, here
Absolutely.
Here, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Everybody's
But
gonna be
here
like,
is not.
whatever.
You know, when you go to places like,
But you go across Mount Weather and get down into Nova,
and not only
flip the
that,
switch.
now you have people, even in this area to some extent, you have people that are dependent on government jobs, and even that
Yeah.
are people that are completely opposed to all this stuff. They are going to comply to go along, to get along, to make sure that they still have a paycheck.
It's easy.
And they're not, you know, that's just the way it
Well,
is.
that's the thing is that they know that people are
Need that paycheck.
Yeah, of course. You got to feed your family. You need a job. So
need
they're going to
to-
be like, well, you're going to do whatever we say
Need to
because
feed my gun and car habit.
And look, here's what I want to hear from you guys in the audience. You tell me if you think that the reemergence of COVID is a genuine health issue, like this is
Are
legitimate.
you really wanting people to answer
Yeah,
that?
I do, because I want to hear their opinions. Or you think this is a strategic
Oh, okay.
implementation and lead up into to where they can create an environment to where they can skew election results.
I don't think. I don't think it's solely based on skewing election results.
Well, you brought up a huge, excellent point about the exact timing because that's what I said
Correct.
too. I also was like, you know, it does seem a little early because if I was them, I would probably start trying to do this in spring because it's going to take a long time to ramp up, right? They got to ramp all this stuff up. They got to get everybody on board. They got to come up with all kinds of fake studies to say this or
I
that.
don't think so.
They got to do all that stuff, so it takes a little bit more time. They
I
don't
don't
need
think
this.
so.
You don't think so? What?
I think
don't-
they
I
could
don't-
ramp it up pretty fast.
I think they would rather be like, oh my God, COVID, everyone shut it down, right? Right? Because
Be
if they
all
try to-
dramatic about it?
Yeah, because if they ramp it up like a slow timeline, you'll have questions, you got to answer stuff, everything like that. So if they're going to shut it down, it's going to be like,
But
boom.
see, the flip side to that one, Jay, is you got to have people that's sick before you can ramp it up.
That's the thing.
You don't have anybody sick
Or-
yet. You got a handful of
and
people
they'll
here and
just tell
there.
you people are
And
sick.
you
Joe
gotta-
Biden's sick.
you have to release data. You have to
Right.
release data in a way
And numbers.
that makes it look plausible.
Data
they'll just-
and numbers.
They'll
But-
just tell you people are sick. It's just like
Well,
the
that's
first,
what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Like,
the
you-
first COVID,
there-
we went to Mexico taking shots with all these people in Florida.
Sure.
Nothing happened.
But what I'm saying is you can't suddenly say on Tuesday 1 million people died this month
Right.
from COVID. Like you got to start dripping stuff out. They got to start attributing
Yeah,
COVID
exactly.
deaths to natural causes. What ends up being natural causes.
Mm-hmm.
But now they're going to start just like they did.
I mean, didn't they kind of do that anyway? Like anything in the
100%,
hospitals, right?
100%.
They just, if someone died, it was just COVID related, right? So again, right?
Not
Yeah.
only did they do that,
Right.
but on top of that, I still think they dramatically, exaggerated the overall deaths.
Yeah, and
And,
that's what I mean.
We've seen that. We've
We
already
saw
seen
people
that.
down in car wrecks. They're like, COVID.
Yeah.
Like,
So,
well,
but Chris brought up. We were talking about
This
this
is
a little
what
bit
it- this
before,
is what
and,
it is.
and Chris brought up an excellent point. So throw that theory out.
I think, okay, so I don't know. Some people probably here work at the government, but if you don't know, the government has to pass the new budget by September 30th. Okay? Well, what month are we in right now? September. So they are figuring out something right now to say, oh my God. So if you all don't remember from 2020, there was not enough money in the Stafford Act. That's what FEMA operates on. The Stafford Act is essentially a blank check from Congress that Congress hands to FEMA. It says, all right, here you go.
I like that guy.
Yeah. And says, here you go. This is what you'd use for 2020 to fund your hurricanes, your Hawaii wildfires, your tornadoes, your tsunamis, your
Naders?
earthquakes. Oh, yeah, the naders.
There's an R
With the,
at the end of
Yeah, Gary,
tornado.
Gary, we're
Oh,
in
yeah,
West
the
Virginia.
naders.
All right,
I got
this
you.
is the naders. All right. So that's what they do. So with the budget coming up here, end of September, they're going, holy crap, we got COVID coming again.
Yeah.
We need to take this budget from this big and make it this. We don't want to run out of money again because they ran out of money.
Well,
in
that's an excellent
2020.
point. So,
So-
if their plan is to like ramp things up in June or July, they have to make a stand
Yes,
now.
they have to make a stand now in
Yep.
order to have the funds when June or July comes around, there's this chunk of fake money sitting there going, "Hey, here's here COVID."
Now we gotta put out ballot boxes that are easy accessible. We gotta do mail-in voting. We gotta have money for all this.
You
stuff.
gotta have the mask at the polling station. You gotta have masks at the schools. You gotta have masks at the hospitals. You gotta have masks at the post office. You gotta have masks at the boat docks.
That's right.
You gotta have it everywhere.
Boat docks.
Summer.
You're gonna have to
bail out. If it's government owned or state owned, they had masks at the boat
100%.
docks.
That's why I always say
You
zombies
can read
are real, Gary. They show up to the ballot boxes every
if you
every,
read up
4 years.
What's
you
that?
can.
I said zombies are real. They show up to the ballot boxes
You
every
damn
4
right.
years.
100%.
But if you just Googled and read about some of the stuff FEMA gave
I've been
money
trying to get her to read for so long.
I know it's tough.
Well, if you didn't put so much other stuff on me to do, I might have
She
time to
doesn't
read.
read. She doesn't know how to read. I'm not even convinced. She
I
doesn't know how to
love to read. I love to read.
read. My mind.
Just not what
You look so
Gary.
pretty tonight too, Summer. By the way.
He called me ugly earlier.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Come on. The one time you compliment a woman, I said, Summer, why are you looking so good tonight? She goes,
No, that's not
So
what
what
you
did I
said.
look-
Now
oh,
you're
every
just
other-
telling-
Like I said.
now you're telling lies.
here we go.
Women
What did
can
I
turn
say?
a compliment to
You
a
look very
fight
good
like
tonight.
that.
You look pretty tonight, Summer.
Yo, you
Look
said,
like it
"Oh,
was-
you look pretty tonight." What happened?
What did it say?
That's
Look,
what
look like a
you
hair.
said.
It looked like a
That's
hair
what
wash
you
day.
said.
You
As
know what I mean?
always, I agree with Summer.
Like, suddenly you started putting yourself together. That's
Jason,
nice.
Jason is a smart man.
Gary finally
no,
say
there's
something to
another
you,
one
Summer?
you can record. Jason is a smart man.
Jason
Oh,
is a sword,
yeah.
man.
I'm gonna put that for Brianna's best
Luckily, the
text message
podcast
notification.
was recording everything. He can pull out little
But no,
sound
that's
bites.
that's what I honestly think it is. It's the rampant COVID up to inflate the budget.
Well, they're prepping the objective.
Yes.
So
I
they're
mean,
getting
that's a perfect
prepared.
way to put it.
They're getting prepared to have the resources to implement their plan, because suddenly we're going to have a huge resurgence come spring, summer. Everybody's going to die, and now suddenly going to have a string of COVID.
Yeah, and we need to have enough COVID money to send to Ukraine too.
Yeah.
because they're going to get it too.
Well, that's true.
So we have to have that money to send. I mean, y'all out there can agree.
Matter of fact-
We need money to send to Ukraine for their COVID.
Like, hey, look, if you want more money, you got to back us up on this COVID thing.
Yeah, be like,
You got to get the
tell us.
COVID if you want
Be like,
money.
Yep.
we need it spread wild.
Jeff on throws some stats up here. I have nothing to check this by, but Jeff's pretty
Just pretty
Good.
reliable.
He's more
Pretty
reliable
reliable.
than CNN.
That's true. Said in the 2020
Yeah.
elections, more than 39 million people cast their ballots by mail. So 154.6 million people voted in 2020, up from 137 million. 37
You know,
and a
you
half
know why?
million
So,
in
and I
2020.
You know why that is, right? That's because they
Okay.
opened the wall.
It's true.
From Mexico. That's all illegal immigrants.
Well,
Now it's welded
and a lot
open.
of
I
babies.
have seen a stat. And I actually meant to pull that up before this and give it to Jason to post. But I have seen a stat. There were definitely more votes than there are registered voters. Don't quote
for
me on
sure.
that, because I don't have anything to back that up at the
That would
moment.
be
But I
interesting to
did
Google.
see what I, at least at the time, I thought was a credible source on that. Somebody can look that up.
Not really changing the subject, but there were several comments posted about states passing laws that were making
mask.
it illegal to require masks.
Yeah, there's somebody said
And I
something in
think-
Texas.
I think that needs to be the way to go.
Well, there was
And
also
there's also
there's
a
also federal legislation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll have to read that.
Freedom to Breathe Act.
Give me
That
something
sounds
to
good.
do tomorrow at work.
This is great and all, but our Republicans are freaking toothless. They have they put all these votes on the floor, but they never get passed and never get done. We still haven't even started freaking impeaching this jackass in the White House that's clearly been
Well-
bought by his son, by with and through his son.
I saw a news story today that the special counsel is going to indict someone in the Hunter Biden.
Well, they're going to indict
investigation.
Hunter Biden.
They have to.
Can I go back to the COVID too?
And
when
For
we're
a
done?
misdemeanor.
even
Yeah.
if Hunter Biden goes down, it's never going to touch Joe Biden, because we have absolutely spineless Republicans that are actually Democrats that are behind the scenes. It's like the WWF. They're out there pretending to be enemies, blah blah blah.
Whoa,
Then they
that's
get out of
real,
there.
Gary.
I know it's real. And then they go back out there and they're going to determine the outcome, and they're going to talk about how they're going to choke slam each other and do all these things. And they get out there and they fight. They talk a lot of smack, but at the end of it, we have completely weak Republicans, whereas the Democrats are ideologues. They're driven, they're determined, and they're winning. And the best we can do is sort of slow them down. It's pretty pathetic.
Well,
Jeff's got your back. He said in 2018 there were 153 million registered voters. That's 1.5 million less than voted. That in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
However, 21 states allowed citizens to register at the polling sites on the same
Oh, that's
day
cool.
they vote.
Hi, I'm John Smith.
yeah.
Check.
Yeah.
There were
Married to Pocahontas.
there were 50 million more John Smiths that voted in the past election than there are John Smiths in the U.S.
I don't know if we talked about this before the show. Do you think this COVID stuff has anything to do with that? The indictments on Trump just kind of washed away. I didn't hear anything.
Oh, I
haven't
do.
seen anything.
I think
I haven't seen crap
I
on TV
think-
or nothing.
I think part of this is a strategy and part of a contingency
So
plan.
they just kind of shifted gears.
Of, hey,
well, that
you know
didn't
what?
work.
These indictments aren't doing what they thought they were. We're going to have to be able to freaking commit massive voter fraud again.
But now they have all these groups
interesting.
filing lawsuits to make sure Trump doesn't get on the ballot at all, quoting, I think it's the 14th Amendment.
Yeah, but
that's-
even the New York Times shot that down. They
Yeah,
said
I was listening to
that's political
They
theory
say.
that doesn't even make sense.
I was
just
basically
said,
listening
"Suck
to
it."
the radio this morning. That was hundreds of years or 100 years ago at this point that they basically did away with that.
Yeah. Well, again, half
Don't
the
quote me on
half
that, but
the-
it was a long time ago.
Quote somewhere on that.
half the indictment, half the charges in the indictments are literally political
yeah, they're
theory to
nothing,
begin
yeah.
with.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
what we went over that one show. I mean, it was
Yeah,
a waste of
Dave
time.
Roberts said a federal judge shot it down.
yeah.
You know, so
But it's happening in several different states. A new one was just filed today.
yeah,
So-
we'll see.
Again, nothing will happen to President Biden because Shady can't throw.
Well,
can't snitch on Shady. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know.
That was a great reference.
I don't know what that.
Shady can't snitch on Shady.
well, like the Republic, everyone's shady up there doing, insider
what you're saying.
trading and everything like that.
okay,
You know,
yeah.
like so they're just
The
like,
pot can't call the
yeah,
kettle black,
right,
Jay.
exactly. They can't
Yeah.
be
That's
like,
why they all
oh,
walk-
you're doing this because guess what? They're doing
Well,
something similar.
and that's
right?
why they were so effective at turning on Trump and prosecuting and persecuting Trump is because you had both sides of the party that hated him.
Right.
Both
yeah.
parties hated him. So, and you had Lindsey Graham supporting Trump up there in front of people and completely working against him behind. Lindsey Graham, Mitch McConnell, all of these
What's up with
freaking.
him freezing up too?
Well,
It's a weird
yes.
mofo.
Time to
I mean,
go.
what is he? 98.
I forgot what somebody said. Somebody said it'd be funny to see a debate between Biden and Mitch McConnell.
Well, you have
Yes.
to take
Why
a shot
not?
every time they don't answer.
There'd be a lot of awkward silence.
throw Pennsylvania
say?
in there too.
Take a
What's
shot
his
every
name?
time they don't answer.
Fetterman, John Fetterman.
That Shrek looking dude.
John Fetterman.
He looks so
Just had
weird.
him up there in a hoodie and let all three of them go.
At the end of it, by the end of it, the last 10 minutes, all you see is three dudes licking freaking ice cream cones with ice cream all over their face, drooling and not knowing
We
where
need
to
to
go.
make that happen. We need to get them on the show.
I mean, the state of our country, folks, this is absolutely
Oh,
insane.
mini stroke Mitch.
Mini
Cheryl
Stroke, Jesus.
I mean, it is
That's
insane.
wild though.
Could you guys imagine 15 years ago, or even like 10 years ago, just take
wasn't
your
alive
conscience
then.
from 10 years ago and suddenly transport you into today, and someone give you a brief of the state of our union? Could you
like-
imagine
like,
between the
you'd be like,
transsexual
"Shut
stuff,
up."
people, them trying to get 9-year-olds doing sex changes, like it would blow
Starlink,
your mind.
internet, electric cars,
I'm not talking about the.
the cool stuff. You're just talking about the shitty
I'm
stuff.
talking about. And we haven't even made that many technological advances in the last 15 years.
Yeah, we have. Look at Jay. He looks great.
He does look great.
That's from the technological advance stuff, keeping him young.
David Roberts says there are a few reasons they're coming back with coronavirus. All of Trump's indictments are falling apart.
Yep.
For one, and second, they need to do a mail-in voting. Absolutely,
absolutely.
That is
100%
100%.
again.
That's
Yep.
that's my entire.
That-
That's exactly.
I would agree on this
We're
theory.
eye to eye on
The
that.
variant
And
sucks
I,
too
and
when
I
it's
generally
named.
don't agree with
Oh,
these
Glitch
theories.
McConnell. I like that. one.
It's a glitch in the matrix.
Yeah, Jason's like, I said the exact same thing earlier. He's like, no, that's stupid.
Yeah, and then he's cracking up laughing now.
Dave says he's like, that guy is spot on right there.
Yeah,
That
he's
guy.
right. Is it? That's
I
it.
don't know if it's just the way he says it.
He's right. The way it rolled off his lips.
No, that's not what you said earlier, Gary. That was completely different. I feel like we missed some.
Jay, you can lower your chair so your feet hit the ground too, buddy.
Yeah, bud.
Jesus, yeah.
Jeff says, just remember the FDA does not test vaccines. It is the responsibility of the company seeking to approve.
Oh, yeah, but they don't need the approval, Jeff.
They have waivers.
Yeah,
They have
absolutely.
waivers. They
This
don't need
works.
approval.
Here.
And then they have immunity from being sued.
There was a couple of things that I started looking up, and I started not turning this into like a informational thing where I'm reading a bunch of highlighted stuff again.
Did you see
But-
Pfizer stuff's crashing? their stock's way down.
Well,
Excuse
that's
me.
probably another reason they
Yeah,
had to bring
they-
COVID back.
Absolutely.
Oh, bye.
Oh, what was the headline you saw today where they said,
Oh, it came through off the Weather Channel app.
Yeah, the Weather Channel.
An alert came through that said the new vaccine booster is the most effective against
course
the
it is.
new
See?
strain of COVID.
yeah,
it is.
You
and
see that? It's third down
Like,
32% year to date for Pfizer.
So all of a sudden
we've never
now,
heard that before. So
By-
you're saying
by
this
Pfizer.
one,
I know.
this one
All of
is
a sudden
safe and
now it's
effective.
effective.
This one is safe and effective.
Yeah, yeah.
We found out the old ones
Well, they
weren't.
didn't say safe. I will give them that. They said
Okay.
effective.
Effective at what?
I don't. I guess
Giving you an embolism 3 months after you take it.
Literally,
wonder how many Mitch got.
I just said Pfizer stock is down, lowest 52 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Okay, look at the first thing on there. The UK regulator approves updated Pfizer BioNTech COVID vaccine. Hooray!
We got to get that. We got to get those rookie numbers up.
I mean, it's
I mean, you know, a health
it's
crisis.
so
There's big money in health
predictable.
crisis.
Oh my god!
Health crisis and war. You know, once these guys have, you know, tasted that and
money.
all that money,
Dude, we need to make a
coming
run.
in,
We need
like,
to make a run on Pfizer, like they did with
they're
like
gonna
Regal
be-
Cinema or whatever that was.
They're going to be
was GameStop.
releasing more.
GameStop. that
GameStop.
was, yeah.
They're going to be releasing
Shorted.
more viruses than we are starting wars. That's what's going to end up happening.
It's
Just move to
it's
biological.
It's the new vaccine industrial complex.
The vaccine industrial complex. I like it. So the company, Jeff Hahn says, so the company sends their test saying the vaccine is good and the FDA approves it. The company then states we have FDA approval and the FDA says the vaccines have been tested.
Well, Jeff, when they send that, I'm sure there's a $50 bill taped behind it. So when they look at the
50
50?
billion.
That's
know
like
what
a
I mean.
one.
You know what I mean. I'm
50
talking big
billion.
money for me.
If it doesn't have Ben on it, I'm not doing it.
You get like 47 weeks of fucking what's it called? Oh, sorry.
Leave.
Sheesh.
I
Don't get angry at the OPM.
Jason,
He's
you're
just
supposed
a
to
little
bleep me,
jelly
Jason.
right now.
You're supposed to bleep it, Jay. You're
Jason,
late.
where are you? But yeah, you're supposed to get like you got what, like 20 something weeks of.
No, it's like 480 hours.
Stop telling his business to everybody.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm
Putting-
sorry. I
Putting
don't
my
want
name,
you to leave
putting my
anywhere.
name in the streets.
Gary's up here spilling the tea.
Robin's at home will be pissed at you.
I know.
Anyway,
I know.
shout out to our Lost Boys
You don't want
over on
Robin
Rumble.
pissed.
I don't want Robin.
Oh,
pissed at me.
Robin pissed at you.
All the other women are. I might as well not have Robin.
No doubt.
2020, Jeff Hunt says at least 13 senators and 35 U.S. representatives held shares of Johnson & Johnson, the medical behemoth that produced the single-shot COVID-19
Of course they
vaccine.
did.
Exactly.
Yo,
Why
That
wouldn't you?
made more than 15 million. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
that's why
of
every
course.
freaking body that goes to DC that's elected, they go and make what, like $100,000 a year, and they
it's
leave
about
freaking
200.
multi-millionaires.
About 200
Think
grand.
about it. Like, how do you live in DC
And billionaires. Yep.
live in DC off $100,000 a year and leave with that much
Well,
money?
you guys saw how that guy was
You can live in
tracking
DC for 100 grand.
That's what I'm saying.
200 grand. bro.
Can't live here for 100 grand.
That's what I'm saying. So how do they get to save up millions?
Well,
How do they make billions? That's the real question.
Well-
maybe they have a sweet ass printer.
A really good one.
Yeah.
A really good one.
Where'd they get the? I
Well,
need,
it
the, I
was
need the
like-
Amazon link.
That guy had an entire website where he was tracking all of Nancy Pelosi stocks, and they were just people were rolling in the dough, man. It's 100%
thing?
insider
Oh.
training. And what's that?
That was a true thing.
That's a true thing.
Oh, we need to
That's
track our
legit.
stocks too.
Why you keep your mouth shut?
Waka 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 waka. Why you sound like a
Here we go.
freaking
Here, don't eat. Just go to your next topic.
waka waka waka
I'm gonna
waka?
hit you right in the sack.
You guys on a roll tonight.
What are you, Fraggle
That's
Rock?
Fozzie.
It's Fraggle Rock.
Listen,
It's Fozzie that goes
listen,
waka
this is-
waka.
Y'all, this is nothing. You should have heard him before the show. I was like, Jesus, you guys are on it tonight. Anyway,
I'm going
You
home.
just ruined the mood.
I'm having
I
a
know.
good time.
James being all quiet over there.
Oh,
great
we did want to
side.
talk, Chris. Talk about that topic that you wanted to bring up.
I will. Okay. Let me
this
Yeah.
kind of goes back to self-defense news.
Yeah,
huh?
I'm gonna shift gears a little bit here. Let me pull up the because I want to read
We'll,
the
we'll go back to
entire.
the conspiracy theories in just a second.
I just want to read the. This happened in centralish, north central West Virginia over the past 2 days. So I'll read you the article real quick. It's not too long, so you won't get bored. West Virginia State Police released the name of victim and a suspect in a deadly road rage shooting Monday on West Virginia Route 32 between Davis and Canaan Valley. Troopers said Joe Nelson, 46, of Dry Fork, and Daniel Sanders, 41, of Tunnelton, West Virginia, got involved in a road rage incident and stopped their vehicles in the roadway. They said Nelson, which would be the back truck, approached another man, Sanders, the front truck, armed with a large pipe and a large wrench. That's when they say Sanders, the front truck, fired a shot, striking the back truck guy in the chest, and then fled the scene. West Virginia State Police said Nelson, who was struck in the chest, was pronounced dead at the scene. Troopers said they identified the suspect as Sanders and obtained a warrant charging him with second-degree murder. They said West Virginia State Police Special Response Team was able to track Sanders down, but he barricaded himself within his residence. Troopers said when they entered the residence, they said Sanders had died from what they believed to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound. They said the investigation remains active and ongoing. So,
Do you think he found out they were going to charge him with second-degree murder, and that's why he killed himself? Or
He would have.
so that's kind of my quandary, conundrum. I talk with a buddy of mine, Lonnie, all day about it, and here's So I have two I don't even know, thoughts or whatever. So my first thought is, okay, the original story that came out was the guy that in the front truck stopped. He was brake checking people, so he was pissing off whoever was behind him, which happened to be the guy that got shot and killed.
do they know why? Just
No,
for
just
fun?
typical road rage thing. It's what the initial talk was between, and I say mountain folk as nicely as I can because that's what everybody up there. I mean, the news traveled quick. So I actually known the guy that got shot and killed for 20 years. Super nice dude. We bear hunted together, drank beer together. Super good dude. But so the guy in front, brake checking. Of course, Joe is going to get up on his butt like I would probably do too and say, you want to play. But then the guy in front stops. Okay. If he stops, in my opinion, you're ready for a fight. Okay. You're going to get out and you're going to solve it. Sure. Now, you don't have any idea what is going to be solved with because you don't know what the guy has behind you. It doesn't say in the story. Well, it does say that two guys got out of the back truck and they had a pipe and a wrench. So
One of those were the guy that you knew.
yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if he had the pipe or the wrench, but they start walking to the front truck, and then it says, a trigger was squeezed and a bullet got shot through some guy's chest and he died.
Yeah.
So one school thought
But not both guys were shot,
no, it was the dad and the son.
and the dad was shot.
Yes. So one thought is, did the guy have full intent? Okay, I'm going to get my ass completely beat. Boom. Okay, that scared him. Oh crap! I just pulled my trigger. I need to get out of here because I did something. Something I shouldn't have. Or my other school of thought is, okay, here comes some guys. Oh no, what do I do? And he's just holding the gun, kind of like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? Boom.
Well, I
And just
don't
accidentally goes off.
Maybe hit him in the
I don't think
chest.
any of that matters.
Well,
Because
I'm going the thing is to the next step is why that is important because then he goes home and then offs himself.
So
Sure.
fleeing the scene is one thing, right?
But then goes
Like,
home and goes, "Oh crap, I killed a guy."
Maybe he
So-
realized
so
he took
from a-
another life and just couldn't deal with it.
And
Again,
he
I-
had two younger sons too.
I'm clearly not a lawyer, but I
No,
do
and I
study
just
these things.
want to think what everybody
Yeah.
else.
No. So I mean,
thinks on
again,
that.
I'm not a lawyer, but I can tell you right now, you have two adults coming at you with
Absolutely.
with deadly force.
Agreed.
Yeah,
He would be justified
100%.
in that defense.
Yeah.
Now, in the moment, you may not know that. He may not realize that.
No,
he
absolutely.
may think that, and number one, they were even charging him with murder.
Second.
They got a second-degree murder warrant, which doesn't make sense to me. I don't know how they justified that,
Especially not in West Virginia.
Unless, look, there's what happened, and then there's what was conveyed that happened at the scene.
Correct.
Which that is what ends up. Information is what leads to a warrant. Doesn't mean it's true.
Because there was only one person alive at the scene that can say what happened.
Yeah, exactly. Who knows what happened by that time?
Correct.
The pipe wrench in the pipe might not even been there. Who knows? But the point is number one, from a self-defense standpoint, I think it's pretty clear that he would have been justified in using deadly force. What this really kind of makes a point of is, it's easy. And look, let me tell you something. More than once, I've gotten out of a car in these types of incidents.
Granted, yeah.
But it brings some clarity that you don't know what you're getting into. You don't know who you're dealing with up front, and the next thing you know, you and your family could be shot and killed.
Correct.
Summer's tried to convey this to me at different points. I'm like, nope, Nope. The problem is this guy's never had his ass whooped.
He gonna learn
Yeah.
today.
And we're gonna.
That's Gary's story, and he's gonna teach
But
him.
yeah, that's
But with that being said, it is a good case study to look at to say, it's not worth it. It wasn't worth whatever that guy was getting pissed off about, brake checking dudes, and then obviously the people that are, nobody, 2 people are dead.
and
But you know what,
two dads
Gary?
are gone.
2 dads are gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
10 years ago, I feel like you would have been like, no, I'm still getting out and beating his ass.
Oh, yeah, I
Now
definitely
you're
would've.
old enough to realize, hey,
Oh. No,
you're
Summer.
old enough.
No, Summer.
You're
Smart,
old enough-
Smart enough.
wise
te-
enough.
te-
Wise.
Technically, I am a
Wise
grandfather.
enough.
I'm like,
Wise
look,
enough.
you're a grandfather. You don't need to go.
You're
get
wise
up
enough
on the edge of
that
the road.
like you wouldn't want to put the family that's in the car
Sure.
in jeopardy too.
No, that's 100%.
You know.
But
One squeeze of the trigger
this isn't
ruined.
about me, Summer.
two-
This isn't
I mean,
a life lesson for me.
it's
I'm
just-
just saying in general.
It puts in perspective. One trigger squeeze ruined 2 whole families.
Yeah.
At that point in
Several
time,
kids now.
yeah, I know of 4
Dramatic.
of kids that don't have dads anymore. Because of that. And I don't really understand what the guy was thinking of leaving the scene. He probably was just in
He
it
probably
just straight panic.
Panicked.
Yeah.
Straight, and literally where the shooting happened to where his house is at is almost 35 minutes. I mean, he went a lot farther away to get home to, I guess, and sat there and probably was just rocking in his chair going, what do I do, what do I do, what do I do?
Well,
Yeah.
was,
You
it,
know-
was,
But,
the, was the shooter a felon and not?
No,
And,
no, totally
I-
legit dude, everything.
no, the shooter.
The shooter was
Shooter,
a totally you and me guy.
All right.
I
How do you
would've-
know that?
Because I looked at his profile. I snooped on him.
Yeah, but you don't know if he's a felon.
No, he's an avid hunter and everything like that. From what his Facebook, like he was hunting deer last season. So I mean, I would hope somebody wouldn't post that if they were a felon and
Sure.
saying, "Hey, I have my gun." You know what I
he
mean?
Could be,
He
as
could
a
be an
hunter-
idiot too.
As a hunter, he could be using a muzzle loader.
Nah, I mean, a muzzle loader with a 3x9x40 on. I haven't seen too
But
many of
still,
those.
no,
like,
but I'm just saying.
You know what I'm saying, Jay? I know what a muzzle loader looks like. You probably don't.
I can still see, but
it
like
has a muzzle, Chris.
Oh, most guns do.
even if you panic and leave the scene,
Call somebody or say, "Hey,
call
yes,
somebody,
I don't-
turn yourself in, be like, look, I got a family and I need to figure out what I need to do to fight this or get a lawyer or what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Don't go home and,
Well, and look,
take
and
another
we don't
life.
know. And here's
Yeah.
the thing, there's nothing but speculation here. taking
Right.
place.
You don't know.
That could have been started because one of the, he could have been on drugs.
100%.
Who
Right. Or
knows?
drunk.
Or
Anything.
drunk.
Yeah.
Yep. So
He
who
could have
knows?
went home and hide
Point
and killed
is-
himself.
It sucks.
Is we need to. It is an excellent case to look at and be like, you know what?
It's not
Most
worth-
people watching this are type A types of guys.
Right.
Things can escalate quickly beyond our control, and it's just a good idea to learn to mitigate any sort of risk, and get away from those situations.
Jeff's comment, I no longer get out of the car because I know I won't be able to control myself and
Yeah.
what happens next. And I know that.
But I mean, that's
Yep.
a valid point.
Yeah.
You have to have that in the back of your brain. You can't just see complete red like Jay when he can't get his Tesla charger off the thing into the car at the airport, and he almost hawks it and breaks it. We all have to, me, my wife, and his wife has to walk away, surrounded on camera as he's breaking a Tesla charger when he already scanned his card 4 times and it wasn't taking.
I just want to put this out there, Elon. It wasn't
This
a Tesla
was-
charger.
No, it was
it
a
was a third.
charger.
It was a
And all
third
you were
party
doing,
charger.
that's not a true statement. That was just a hypothetical.
Hypothetical, totally hypothetical. And I don't know why he went into detail on it, but I mean, it was totally hypothetical. But yeah, I mean, it just really puts it in perspective. I've been thinking about it a lot. It's just like, yeah, and I feel bad for both parties. Did the guy really want to get a gun out, or did he feel that threatened?
I
You know,
mean,
that- you got two, and the guy I know of for the fact, the one that I knew that got shot and killed, he wasn't a small guy. He was an average, 6 foot, probably 200 and some pound guy. And if he's holding a pipe in his hand,
Let me tell you something. The couple of times I've been in the car and Gary's jumped out at somebody, people get scared.
well, absolutely.
He gets the crazy eyes. They got this big white gorilla coming at them. They're just like, what the? Like, yeah, I've literally seen them
soulless-
shrink back in their
soulless
seat,
creature
like, oh
coming at me.
Jesus. And I'm like, oh God.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you saw somebody like Gary coming at you, you might have gotten a gun out.
I'd have been more worried about Jay.
That's true. First of all, he would have ninja rolled through there.
That's exactly
Next thing you know, he's coming through your sunroof like a freaking zombie.
Whoa, where'd he come from?
That is so Jason.
Flexibility is survivability.
Jason,
folks.
You know, Jason, speaking of which, I was looking at your Top Gun photo. I was like, Jesus Christ, I've never looked so small. Freaking Shrek son of a gun.
Yeah.
Lloyd says, I had a friend used to do this. I told him next time he could end up getting shot and dead, and it would be a clean legal shoot based on what he told me where we lived. Yeah. So,
It's tough. I mean, it's situational. I mean,
Yeah, you can't do that, folks. You can't do that.
I mean, I've even heard news stories about people doing road rage on the interstate and people pulling up next to him and shooting at
well,
him.
you've seen the videos of the dude like shooting through the windshield of the van at people and
Yeah.
stuff. Like nothing. He just pulls up. I'm like, what are you doing?
the fact of the matter is we have a completely different society than most of us grew up in.
Yeah.
And, you know, you either have people that are going to avoid conflict at all costs, or you have people that have never had conflict but are
think they can.
think they can, or are going to turn to violence very quickly because they don't understand the ramifications of it. You know, the reality is like it's so different and so strange because, you know, like when I talk to kids, they're like, have you ever been in a fight? Like, you know, if you see it, could you imagine asking an 18-year-old, like when we were 18, like, have you ever been in a fight? And they're like, no, I've never been in a fight. Like 90,
That would make you want to get in a fight with him right then.
Like I would just be
I
like,
could see Gary
go
going
right in the
right.
face.
You at least punch him right in the chest.
Yeah, like
cave him.
Like, come on,
See
fight.
Gary going up to like a 13-year-old kid. You ever been in a fight before?
I just smack him.
You want to be?
Let's change that
Defend
today.
yourself. Prepare to defend yourself.
I mean, I had never been in a fight at 18 years old. And I'm from your generation.
You've whipped my ass a couple times.
Well, I said 18. I didn't know you at 18.
Yep.
Oh, I got something else too that came
He's
up
lying,
today
by the way.
when
Brent, you are excused this time. Don't let it happen again.
That's right, Brent.
And no, he cannot.
Get down
still
and do
go.
50.
so Remington came home. I don't know if he's listening. If he's listening, that's fine. But he came home and said they are talking about Code Red regularly at their school.
Like,
Yeah.
who's they?
This is active shooter, I'm assuming.
They've
Yeah.
done like
Kids and teachers. And he said that has been a very active event that they keep training for and
Okay.
training
well,
for.
they do that at the beginning of the school year where they train, they do the fire drill. They teach them all this stuff at the beginning of the
Okay.
year. So that's kind of the thing too.
Well, you've already had a kid go through that, so I didn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, you know, we've been working
Noah's
with
talked about it
the
too.
local
Okay.
sheriff, and I know that the local sheriff has been working with the county school board, and even us to some extent, very limited amount, trying to advise and assist and make them understand how important it is to be ready for this. So I'm glad to see that. You know, now they need to implement this a little bit further.
Yeah,
And not
take
just
the
train
next
for
step.
it. They need to be doing some medical training. They need to be implementing some physical
I
security.
mean, at least they got the
standards.
kids doing code red drills and
100%.
learning what to do.
They're realizing that it's
What's the
it's
importance
a
is, yeah.
reality.
Noah said they had an actual code blue. He came home the other day. He's like, "Mommy, we had a real code blue today." I'm like, "What is a code blue?"
Is that not when the kid something or other gets
With the leg.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's right.
And
that's
then
right.
that-
broke,
Noah's-
broke, yeah,
Code
broke
Blue's
his
a
leg or
medical
something like that.
emergency.
Yeah.
Yeah. Noah's like, and then he choked himself out. He landed with his arm across his neck, and I'm like, "Son, that's not possible."
He may have passed out.
Oh
He
yeah.
may have,
He
but
might
he
have.
didn't
He might
choke
have switched.
himself
Choke himself out.
Well, it looked like it, Mom.
Yeah.
Come on.
I was like, "Son,
I'm gonna
Ruining.
rear
let's
naked
be
choke
realistic
myself.
here."
Yeah.
Gary over here talking about naked and rears.
What?
You did
So
say rear
weird.
naked.
I said rear naked
I
choke.
know, naked and rears.
You're so gay.
You can't
Now,
say that.
now we're gonna get
Can't
banned
say
for
that.
sure.
God.
Jesus.
I mean that in a compliment. That was a
Oh, thanks,
not a
Gary.
So gay.
pejorative.
Cheese.
That's
We're canceled.
Wow, you got
you're so two spirited.
you got some sugar in the tank real quick.
My saying got some sugar in the tank.
That is
Sheesh.
that's
Let's go shoot some
Very
guns
bigoted.
later.
Well, I'll just drink my Bud Light over here.
All right, are we back to the conspiracy theories?
I think we're back to
You
conspiracy
can go ahead and
theories.
join Kid Rock, Jay.
All right, so let's get back on track here for just a second. I do want to, Jay, I did put up that Wall Street Journal thing in the ATM. Throw that up there.
I mean, this.
No, that's me.
I mean, do you mean.
Look at that shirt.
This.
Hey.
I mean that.
There we go.
that is really
Jesus,
small for us to
Yeah, I can't read
Blow
that.
that up, Jay. Big screen it.
Right there.
There we go. Oh, right there. Right
Yeah,
there.
right
Right there. All right.
Oh.
All right. So this was from the New York Times, and this is just the other day. It might have been today or the day before. which would be yesterday, the day before today.
Quit yawning, Jeff. That's Jay. That's a Jeff.
So the New York Times talks about this study, and folks, there is an article out today from the New York Times at the same time pushing for additional masking. So basically what they're saying right here is the most rigorous and comprehensive analysis of scientific studies conducted on the efficacy of masks reducing the spread of respiratory disease, including COVID-19. There is just no evidence that masks make any difference. Full stop.
Thomas Jefferson
But wait,
said it.
hold on. What about N95 masks as opposed to lower quality surgical or cloth masks? Makes no difference. None of it. What about the studies that initially persuaded policymakers to impose mask mandates? They were convinced by non-randomized studies, flawed observational studies. Just like we all thought at the beginning of all this, that they didn't have, and by the way, folks, there was multiple studies prior to this that talked about the efficacy of masks when it came to many other situations. They've tested whether or not masks stopped even bacteria, much less viruses. They had already come to these conclusions in multiple randomized studies on that prior to this. And I posted those at the beginning of the COVID. By the time, number one, those got removed. And then I went to go find those same articles much later on, and Google had removed, or they were 3 different universities that had done testing on masking, both N95 and surgical masks in clinical studies. So, the data was there. So no one was fooled. And just like we now have much more comprehensive and clear data that masking doesn't work, we know that at a national level, at a clinical level, and yet still they're going to continue to push masking.
What's not talked about, which I was actually listening to today, and just did a little bit of research and Googling on as well, is the chemical cocktail that is in a lot of the N95 masks, and you're breathing that in all day.
They've talked about
long.
many different adverse effects of masking,
there's
both from the
independent-
chemicals on that, but also even just breathing your own freaking carbon dioxide.
There's independent studies and several studies by some German scientists I was reading that show that there are carcinogenic chemical compounds in the mask when they're made, and you're literally breathing in carcinogenic chemicals all day.
Yeah, and 90% of those masks are made in China, which is why we had to, we ran out of masks at one point and had to have China ship a bunch over here.
And Lord only knows they use all the safe stuff there.
From Wuhan.
Exactly.
That's where the bat was.
Jeff says, let's not forget the NIH from 2009 to 2014 received 22,000 royalty payments to 17,000 NIH science, equating to a total of 134 million.
Not bad.
And in 2015 to 2020, the amount reached a total of 350 million. Yeah, so I was actually, they were talking about that on Joe Rogan, actually, too, that people at NIH can actually get, basically, if they're working with a pharmaceutical company, they're basically getting these royalties paid out to them for forever, folks. It's not just them and their kids, and there's a limit on it. It's
a lifelong contract.
It's like 300,000 a year or something ridiculous, right? There's a limit to what they can get, and it's still a large amount. But for their kids, their kids, and their kids, and their literally, as long as the company's in business, their family will be receiving these royalty payments. Now, I'm sure that's case to case. I'm sure not all require that. Maybe they get 300,000 one year and they don't get it. I'm sure there's some contractual agreements, but they can do that. And then, of course, what we have is people leaving the NIH and all these other government organizations and going to work directly for these different pharmaceutical companies. That's a real problem. And on top of that, you have a bunch of these heads of pharmaceutical companies leaving there and going to work in government. Like, there is such a conflict of interest that the American people clearly don't even care about. But we need to get a handle on this. What's up, Biggles?
Sorry.
It's Jay eating his Chick-fil-A sandwich back there.
Scroll up a little bit, Jason. I'm sorry, but John Esmond was referring to a New York Times article. No highlighter.
He tried to,
He has to get a new computer.
Gary tried to skip over that. Gary just
My computer ran out of highlighter. Now I try to use it.
But you have a nice leather-wrapped computer now.
It doesn't do anything.
You see that thing?
He does not need to buy a new computer. Don't give him an excuse.
No, it's leather-wrapped. Smells
It is
of rich
leather-wrapped.
mahogany.
That's a beautiful.
Leather-bound
I still don't know how to
books.
use it.
It's a
Mac.
It just looks good.
It does look
It's a
good.
nice paperweight.
It's freaking sweet.
Looks sweet beside your CPU.
And look, Lloyd Castle said that Faust became a millionaire with that money being spent.
He wasn't already a millionaire?
He probably was. You
That's
know,
what I
and even going
figured.
back
If you're
to
in that position,
even
you're
going
probably a
back to the
millionaire.
Wuhan Institute, folks. You know, the idea that, you know, number one, they almost knew from the beginning that this
Jeff on?
disease came from that institute. And the reason, and it's clear to me, and this is circumstantial
They thought they
evidence.
could fool us.
Obviously, we still haven't found quote unquote proof of it, but I think it's pretty clear to everybody that you know, the reason that Americans and Fauci work so hard to cover this up and deny the most likely, thousands of times more likely that that disease came from that institute as opposed to coming from some sort of wet market or emerging from nature, was because he knew that he was complicit in funding that and guiding that research. And he was actually the one, you know, Obama, I forgot what year it was, but Obama made that research illegal. And it was Fauci himself that basically signed off on them re-engaging with that. And, you know, the real question is why, you know, because what they're not doing, it doesn't seem like that they're actually coming up with cures for these diseases. So I think it's probably almost obvious. It seems most likely to me that they are engaging in these activities in order to create, you know, bioweapons. I don't really know what other conclusion you can come to with that.
David said, my brother sent me a video and it's of a scientist well known, and he says the coronavirus is a bioweapon that was released on people to reduce population. I do believe it was a bioweapon. I don't know
I
that
don't think
was
it worked that well.
Well, I don't think it was really done to reduce population. I think it was to undermine the U.S. and Trump and create some
I can't
instability.
get behind all that. I can't.
I mean,
get behind
Jay,
it.
you said
What part can't you get behind, Jay?
Like,
I'm curious on that.
I believe it came from a lab, 100%, right? However, I
You don't
believe
think it was released intentionally?
No, I believe it was human error, right?
Oh,
I
my God.
believe it was human error. You had some
I need my tinfoil
lab
hat.
assistants. You had some doctor in there that like took it out by accident.
Well, to
it
back
was-
up
it
what
was
Jay said,
you know?
they actually there was several people sick from that institute
Right.
that ended up dying like in July or August.
That's what I
And then
believe.
they had
But of
additional ones.
19?
Here, I actually agree with
Yeah.
that.
Are you
I don't
in 19
believe.
they did? Okay.
Yeah, I don't believe that it was released intentionally.
I do.
I don't know
I
that.
don't.
What I do know for a fact,
Why are they even messing
or I
with it
believe for a fact, is they used that as an opportunity to shut down the economy, to do everything that they did with the intent, with the primary political intent of using it as a bludgeon to get rid of Trump.
I don't know if they're that. I don't know if they're that
believe
smart.
that.
I don't think they're
what
that
I
smart.
believe, right? So what I believe it happened, right? That because remember, Trump was in power when they shut everything down. Right?
Trump was never in power, Jay. That's the thing. Is all of his advisors, all of the
What a
bureaucracy
face,
behind him?
Jay.
Let him finish.
No, I'm sorry, Jay. Go ahead.
Jay looked like Miranda, my new child, when you took the bottle away from her. She was
I
like,
did cut you off, Jay. I'm sorry. Sorry, Jay.
All I'm saying is
Yeah.
that he was in power when this happened, right? And I say this, that it ended up turning into a political weapon eventually. I don't think they foresaw what it could be in the beginning. Right,
See,
I believe they shut it down, trying to do the right thing, right? Because Trump he was like, "Hey, shut it down," blah blah blah. But then people saw what it could be, I think, right? And that's why they kept it going so long.
I think
That's why.
it's like Michael Gill says
remember,
right there.
how long have we all been working for the government? There's nobody smart enough
That's-
to foresee that
see-
that far in the future.
Yeah, there are.
So that's where I think, you know, I always go back to like Unusual Suspects, that movie. And one of the things it said was the best thing that the devil ever did was, you know, convince everybody that he wasn't real. And I kind of think the same thing when it comes to that. First of all, we have some very smart people that,
Oh, yeah.
that are pulling strings in a lot of areas.
For sure.
And we've already seen how well we have the media, government, and private industry that are all politically aligned can coordinate and make things happen. So I think there's a lot more coordination behind the scene, and there's more planning behind the scenes than we give credit for. Now, what we have are
Well, of
people.
course.
Hold on, but what we're saying is we work for government, so we work for these jackasses, and then they put politicians out there that are completely inept. So, but you have real serious people behind them that are getting things done, that are coordinating, that are making things happen. And in these politicians, these jackasses that we see in front of us at lower levels of government and everywhere else, we're like, you can't coordinate a freaking trip to McDonald's.
Right.
But that is what serves them as cover, political cover, to get things done behind the scenes that are clearly happening. I think, I think there are plans being coordinated and executed that have been going back 50, 60 years.
But that's why I don't think it was accidental. And I think, and I'm probably very naive, but I think if it was accidental, China would have tried to keep it more under wraps so they didn't look so incompetent.
Oh, they did try to keep
Well,
it
they
under wraps.
they did.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. And again, I think it's 50-50.
I mean, they're still trying to, and then now it's finally come out.
Ultimately, I don't know that either one of those points matter, whether they did it on purpose. I mean, obviously, it matters to some extent, but the reality is that it was released, and then it was definitely at some point turned into, with intent, a political bludgeon against.
And I'll tell you,
But do you
where I
believe
think
that?
it
Do you guys
changed.
believe this? Then do you believe that it was developed in the lab as a biological weapon, but it just got out accidentally?
I don't know what it
I'm
was
not getting in this one.
developed for. I don't
There's
know
no right
why.
answer.
I don't really know why
you
you,
don't have to
would
be right.
develop it.
It's a debate.
Right? I don't really know why
it's-
you.
no,
why
it's
it
not a
would be
debate, it's a
developed, right?
speculation.
But
It's
yeah,
just
I mean,
absolute
but
speculation.
But definitely, a biological warfare is one of those things, right?
You say
I
you
mean,
don't understand why it would be developed. I
Correct.
feel
Like,
like
I don't know
it's
why
a
they would be
virus
doing
that
it.
they already knew was the coronavirus widely existed.
It was already
See,
on
the-
the
it
was-
Lysol
so
can.
It was,
problem-
it
the
was something
problem
that
you
they
have-
could pass off as just another strain of.
So
Yeah.
the problem you have with creating a biological weapon with like that is that it's uncontrollable and will eventually spread, right? It's not something
Is
that
it
you can-
uncontrollable? Or
It
do they
is.
already have something that?
Well, hold
you,
on.
You could not stop the spread. right?
Hold on. The thing with bioengineered weapons, and one of the theories that literally bioengineers have presented with this, was that they can actually create a virus that will target a certain type of person. And that's what this did.
Sure.
It targeted, elderly, it targeted whatever else. Now, what we don't know was that released on accident, and was that a final product, or were they looking to engineer this to where it would target
But-
a different strain,
but-
a different type of person altogether? We don't know.
What Jason's saying, he didn't think it was engineered to be a biological weapon at all. He thinks it was just like some virus they were developing to test, right?
That's what I kind of go.
So what's-
but again, right? I can't say that it's the opposite thing either, right?
But what's
Because
Well, no,
the-
I'm not
could
trying
be
to
used
make
as
you give a
biological
definitive
weapon,
answer.
yeah.
I'm just.
It could be used. I could buy into that.
So
right?
if you're doing gain of function
Right.
if you're doing gain of function testing and development, so what is ultimately the purpose? I can tell you what they say the purpose is.
Right.
But what is do you think the ultimate purpose?
I would think the purpose is to, if you have similar, because coronavirus has existed, right? Not to
Yeah.
That's my
not the
point.
virus
Been
that we've
here.
gone, right? But
Right.
them trying to make vaccines for stronger versions that may go, right? So they might have been trying to create vaccines for things like this.
So here's the problem, and this is, there's some good research on this too, and that is how any sort of therapeutic medicines, vaccines, or anything else have come from the Wuhan Institute.
Well, I don't know.
Or
I
these other
don't know.
places. Like
I don't
that's-
know.
and that's the problem.
Well, China won't
So
let you
even-
in there to see what they've done, right?
There's
So-
some truth to
so
that.
we do not know.
But we
really.
also have the same labs that are still existing and happen to be in Ukraine.
Yeah, for sure.
So, what are we doing over there? And
Mm-hmm.
and if they are using these for gain of function, they need to be like justifying their existence. And I don't see anybody doing that. So the only thing that makes sense to me is, well, they're not saying anything about these labs. So that immediately says to me, well, they're doing something there that they don't want you to know about, which happens to be probably some sort of bioweapon. I mean, I don't know what else.
Yeah, I mean, it's
because I haven't heard anybody
used for that.
I literally haven't heard anybody say, "Hey, these places are very important because we're developing good medicine." All these things.
Sure.
Nobody said that.
I mean, in every movie where some lab, they're doing some nefarious stuff, so it must be true.
Yeah, that's where the zombies
just
come
saying.
from.
It's in the movies. It must be true.
But so going back to the political thing, I think where the whole it went to a political gain for like the Biden administration was when Trump was closer towards a cure, or not a cure, I would say, but a vaccine that we
Yeah.
thought was a cure at the time, right? And then they, all the Democrats came out. I wouldn't take that. They're not listening to the science. Blah 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 blah. And then all of a sudden, right, flip. Right, the Biden won the thing. Oh! We're listening to the science, right? These are okay to
Well,
take.
it actually
right?
it started to happen prior to that.
Well, I think that was like kind of the major turns, right?
I agree. I agree with you.
like that's really where it started becoming super politicized, right?
See, I think behind the scenes it was politicized before then. I think
Yeah, for sure.
right after the 2 weeks to slow the spread or whatever it was, they started seeing that they could, because the Trump economy was roaring, and they wanted to crush that. And
I think
they used that to this day. You know, Biden is still talking about the jobs that he created
Oh, God.
from the jobs that based on the lowest number
Yeah.
of jobs
Yeah.
lost after.
after
and
complete
also
shutdown of the government,
and,
right,
and
yeah.
also going back to what you said, and I don't think a lot of people, because you hear a lot of Democrats say this, they're like, well, it was during Trump's presidency. Yeah, it's true. But in the reality of things is you have a bunch of people conspiring behind him, including Fauci and Bricks and all these other people back there that are giving him advice publicly that really he's kind of cornholed into take. Like you have the
I mean,
Don't say
you
cornhole.
got it.
cornholed into taking. Cornholed.
Just say cornered.
Cornered? Cornholed?
Cornhole.
He's painted into a corner
That's
where
not
he has to
cornhole.
take that advice.
He's in a corner.
You guys are killing me tonight.
He's cornholed. Definitely cornholed.
But yeah, I mean, obviously, you're going to take the advice from the people you hired, which are supposed to be the experts, right? I mean, that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
I
no.
mean, who you don't know it.
What'd you say? Woohoo.
Yeah, I mean, well, who?
Woo-ha.
Oh, well, who? He
Yeah,
said
yeah.
woohoo.
No, I meant Wuhan.
Oh, I thought you were just hitting buttons,
okay.
Jeff.
All right, let's hit some
Oh
of
my
these.
gosh.
Let's let other people get in here so we get away from our craziness.
Good luck with that.
Don't let a good crisis go to waste. Michael Gill says.
I mean, I think that's another thing,
Dave
too.
Roberts. If you watch Bill Gates and all his speeches from the 80s, and he talks about there will be a virus in the future and we'll come up with a vaccine and we'll get rid of the population. There are some crazy things going on.
I mean,
between the WHO, the WEF,
See,
and a whole bunch of other people.
when it comes from all these things, from the 80s,
in
hey,
California.
Nostradamus created all these things thousands of years ago.
Oh,
Yeah,
my God.
eventually they'll
He
come.
didn't.
They'll
He
come
didn't
true.
create them, Jay.
Yeah.
He
Well-
Predicted.
talked about them.
Prediction.
Well,
Yeah, he didn't
Jay,
create.
on top
them.
of that,
he didn't create gravity.
why
or
this is
nothing.
much more relevant than anything, any prediction from Nostradamus
Chris is in rare form right
is,
now.
I'm just sitting here listening.
is Bill Gates was involved with a lot of different things from a lot of different points during the COVID-19. He's still involved.
Still involved. Yes.
with the WEF and a whole bunch of other things going on there. He's buying up farmland left and right. He's doing a lot of weird
He
things
needs to
behind
plant
the
his
scenes.
corn.
And this is what I'm
I gotta
talking
be honest though,
about.
if I had that much money, I'd be buying up all the farmland too.
Well,
I
Probably,
wouldn't,
probably
but-
with
but
different intentions.
I would just
but
buy.
I
I would
carry
just
on.
buy South American.
I think he has a lot. I think Bill Gates has some what we would consider some serious nefarious
Sure.
intentions on
Yeah.
that. I know I do. I think
Wuhan.
I agree.
I think when you get that rich, you start believing that what you believe is right, and you can pay people to
You can do anything.
implement a strategy across the entire globe.
Yeah.
that will
George Soros.
That's
between
where I was going.
and that's the thing is you got people like George Soros, you got people like Bill Gates, you have all these billionaires,
Zuckerberg and
all those
Muskie is
that
in
are
there,
very
too.
politically aligned.
So why did Bezos just say, you know what, F it, sold everything, and then went on?
He just likes selling stuff out of
I
garage.
say he just went out and got on his like big ass yacht and just like peace.
he just wants to
Well,
Amazon deliver you shit.
And that's
That's what
another
you
thing
think.
too. And that's
That's the
another thing
thing.
too is these people are ultra political behind the scenes.
Yeah.
They are very smart, and
They have to be.
Maybe
I
he
do-
put Wuhan in his Amazon package.
it does. I do think it appears to me
Free bats.
and the information that I am aware of, Jeff Bezos is clearly a leftist, but he also does seem to be less active politically.
Correct.
I don't know if
I
that's
don't-
true or not.
I mean,
Well,
he's
who
on a
knows?
yacht with his like hot
Publicly.
new wife. He doesn't care.
but
Define hot.
but
right?
he could also be.
Just saying.
He,
She don't look like Rob.
He could also be Zoom calling people on a regular day,
Sure.
basis, and
I'm just
coordinate
saying
things behind
you're
the
saying
scenes.
he's less active. I'm like,
does
he's
seem that
got
way.
other things going on.
He's just not getting hit in
Yeah.
the media on it. He's just picking up the phone and going, hey, do this. Here's $10.
Dave Roberts, as far as sending me a video, you can send me a link, Gary at ParamountTactical.com.
Yeah.
And if we need to, I have some different transfer
What?
subscription things.
What, Dave Roberts, what came from a laboratory in Oklahoma? Are you
And
talking
may-
about the vid?
Maybe that's another thing that we'll play. Yeah, I mean, there's been coronaviruses around a long time. It's
For
this,
sure.
It's this particular strain, the COVID-19,
Right.
that again seems to be,
Did you hear the cool new name of this new one?
what's that?
It's COVID 0.2.86.
Yeah.
What?
That's the
Por-
big name.
why
COVID
is that?
what?
COVID 0.2.86.
0.2.8. Well, just reading
Why?
through some of the comments, it looks like the consensus or the majority of the people believe that it was a
The weapon,
bioweapon, but it was accidentally released.
Yeah. Look at it,
I
Jay.
think-
You're on the side of.
Jay, I think it was
No,
an
he's-
unfinished. I think it was unfinished and it got out. I don't think because it's not wasn't strong enough to do anything.
It killed a lot of people.
It did kill a lot of people. Like
Quote,
I think,
unquote.
I think that is important.
It could have been the
to
flu.
realize.
Is that they also put that thing out there and said, "Oh, flu deaths this year were only 10."
We're zero.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
I'm talking about early days when a lot of people were
But
dropping.
it
Well-
could have. They also they said time in that year
Did
they
you
said the
hear-
flu was only 10 people died, and then COVID was like 10,000.
So let me get to our Lost Boys over on Rumble over
shit.
here.
well,
right?
hold on.
Okay.
Did you hear they just released a cheaper version from Pfizer, a cheaper version of Viagra?
Sweet.
Why is this news that we need to discuss?
It's called Moxifilin.
Jesus. Where did this come from?
Email Gary at Paramount Tactical.
That should have killed you.
They have another version. It's called
There's the new.
Moxifloppin.
There's the
We're
new
trying to figure out which
T-shirt.
one works.
Macoxaphone.
Dear God, Summer, when you say it, it sounds so dirty.
I know.
Hey, Jay, turn that off. Whatever
likes
this.
that.
Turn the.
What do you
Jay,
got going
X
on
that
there?
out.
X,
What,
yeah.
what am I Xing out?
There you
That-
go. Got it.
You're good.
Michael Gill says, wasn't there some unlicensed lab found in California?
God
I do
bless
think that is
Gary.
correct. Yeah. Bill Gates has made billions selling antiviruses or vaccines
I'm sure he has.
and making viruses for computer and probably making viruses for people as well.
UFO for the hose says he wants to make garden gnomes that look
Jeff-
like Fauci in a prison jumpsuit.
Jeff brings up a good point
I would
here.
buy one.
Jeff brings up a good point that is something to consider, that COVID was just to make people scared enough to take the vaccine, and the vaccine is the actual bioweapon.
I do think I have a
I'm effed.
I agree with that. Like
I'm good.
and I'm trying to figure out what that ends up being.
It was a weight gain shot.
But I do think
Get fucking get stung by bees. Shit.
you can't blame everything on that,
On COVID? Yes, I can.
Chris. Again, when we start going into these novel mRNA virus vaccines, I am curious to see what we're going to find out about all that in the next
Like, what
few years.
DNA is it changing?
think
How
it's
is it
gonna be-
altering
It's
things?
changing mRNA.
Right.
No, but I'm just saying, like, what all is it changing? in the body? And that's where it
I don't
could
know that
be
we
the
know.
bioweapon.
I don't know that we know. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, 20 years from now we see that, like, the average lifespan is decreased by 15 years. The thing is, folks, I think
I'm doing that anyway.
So
there's that.
we got a little bit of a conversation going on over
Yeah.
here at Rumble. So, Jimmy O 1970 says, "Look up
You
videos."
can pull up.
I can.
You can switch over for us. You can switch over to Rumble. No, up there at the top, weirdo.
Oh,
You can't do that.
Live streaming, Jeff.
Dear
Live
God, Jay.
streaming.
Live streaming.
Oh my God.
Okay. All right. I see.
And
how
then
this
click
is-
on live.
God.
Go to the most recent one.
No,
where- one
no,
with-
no. Just go to the right, Jason, where my profile is.
Full
Right
auto
here?
fingers.
Yep.
He's just flipping and clicking.
Sorry, technical
Go
difficulties.
to my content.
My content. Okay.
Content.
Don't hit save. Don't save.
Don't save.
Don't save. Okay.
All right, and then you
Now
can
click
click
that
on,
and then
click
go
on
to
that.
live.
This one.
Yeah.
Just don't let it play.
All right,
Just
and
go to
then
live.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, that was very confusing.
Corn Pop was a bad man.
UFO for those,
My
like your
God,
new,
that's failing.
like your new med. Patent it.
Bill Gates is a fid. I don't know what that means.
No,
I got
here,
it.
how
don't
do I
read that
scroll?
one.
Oh,
I
there
know,
we go.
I'm
There
just
we go.
joking.
Right. Going
Look,
up.
I just
going
want to
up.
go back down. Let's screenshot the 100% Gary 3 times. I like that.
Oh, yeah.
I enjoy that.
This is where I was right here. Oh my God.
Why are you scrolling?
Right
so
here, right here,
fast?
right. The Mockingbird Media.
What is that?
CIA bird.
Well, we're having a conversation about it. Look up the videos of Mockingbird Media. It's definitely coordinated. UFO for the hose.
I got you. That's,
comes
That's
out.
the stuff we've seen. How
Yeah.
everybody says the same thing across the board.
Yeah, he says CIA, Bird, Mockbird Media,
Yep.
and also World Economic Forum.
WEF.
Right. So
Well,
okay.
what?
Yeah. And
Matt Birch is the president of Mockingbird Media.
Corn Pop was a bad man. This is a
He's a bad
weaponized version of coronavirus made to
See,
jump from bats to
UFOs for
humans.
the host said the biological weapon was and is the vaccine.
yeah,
He agrees with
He's-
Jeff.
He agrees with
Yep.
Jeff. Yeah.
Did you read that Florida had the first case of mosquito-borne malaria? Yeah,
Shockingly,
that
right
was like
after
3
the
or 4 months ago. The other thing that's coming back up, apparently, that's becoming a real problem is polio again. I don't know what that's about.
because people aren't getting their kids vaccinated.
Well, I don't know if that's the case.
Yeah,
So,
Isn't that just chicken and
it
Spanish?
had pretty much
Polo?
been eradicated.
I hear you. So there was
Polio.
actually
I like me some chicken.
I do.
I saw a documentary that they were talking about doing a study on the polio vaccine as well, and how that probably wasn't necessary to begin with. And basically, they were trying to make the case that the polio vaccine wasn't the mechanism in which eradicated polio to begin with. But again, I
to
don't
do
remember
some
all the
research
details.
on that.
I'd be more worried about scurvy.
NTX Surfer says, I think it turned into a social experiment to see what part of the
Oh,
population
for sure.
Would comply,
Comply.
at
Yeah,
what
yeah, yeah,
point,
yeah,
i.e.
Like,
fear,
they-
restricted movement.
They definitely took advantage of
Yeah.
the situation to test it out and see what we'd be
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
So Fire Guy 17 said polio is coming from the vaccines. John F. Kennedy Jr. actually, or Robert Kennedy Jr. actually said that
It's in it?
He
That-
did
that-
say that.
that because of they had changed a bunch of different things in that polio vaccine, that
gotcha.
there was live strains that were actually getting people sick. So
Heat.
what
Jimmy
eradicated?
O said that what
Whoops.
eradicated polio was clean living
Yep.
conditions.
Well, in showers, probably.
Well, the other thing that I heard, and I'd heard this many years ago, was like the last disease that we actually cured was polio, and what you ended up having was a multi-billion-dollar industry fall apart because of it. And
they
that's
went
when the
Right. You can't cure them. You have to just
exactly
Keep
you
them
just have to
alive.
treat them.
we got to treat them and give them therapies that just they have to continue to take medicine for the rest of their life.
Well, I mean, why? Now we can just engineer whatever and release
Yeah.
it.
That's true.
Just saying.
Jeff Hahn said, "Jason, wrestle yourself to the ground."
Jason Sponsler said
He
Jason
doesn't have that far to go.
Jason has been in the fight with the ground and gravity his whole life.
He's cute, though. That's why we love
He's
him.
so
He is
cute.
cute.
I like to see him when he tries to jump.
He's so lovable and soft.
Cute little legs, just it's precious.
Like the turret hay bale story.
Jay, I found some Yeti cups today for your size.
Oh,
Before you got here, he was talking
short
about
and
him.
stocky.
No,
No,
they're like they look like
they're
normal
the 10
20
ounce.
ounce.
They're the 10
but
ounce
they're-
tumblers.
Ooh, but they just look like little cute little baby cups.
Gary
It comes with a nipple on it too, Jay.
Gary
From
FaceTimed
far
me and-
away, people think you're like a normal sized person if you carry that around. They'll be like, "Oh my god!"
Gary FaceTimed me to try to convince me to have a baby just so we could get the cup for the baby.
Yeah. And when she said no, I started.
He did. He
I was
yelled out in
crawling
the middle
around
of
and-
Dick's with me on FaceTime. Is anyone willing to carry my baby? I was like,
Gary.
I got 3 yeses.
Let me tell you, whoever said yes, good luck.
You can. I will bring Miranda over anytime you
Well,
want.
she meant to say lucky. That's what she meant to say. Just like you,
So
baby.
lucky.
I blessed you with 2 children. You're welcome.
You did all the work, Gary. I understand.
I know. She just laid there.
Don't touch my face. She just laid there. Jesus,
We had
TMI.
to stay on those uncomfortable vinyl couches in the hospital,
Right.
for 4 to 5
Not
days.
being able to do anything.
No,
That's
and then,
weird.
and then they're like, oh, my back hurts. They're like, me.
Gary
Oh,
went
there we
home
go.
the first night when I had Jackson.
Oh, he had to poop.
See, this is what I thought happened.
I don't remember that. Why did I go home?
Because you had to take my mom home.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. See how that gets free?
Bringing it. I mean, that is. You know what? That's a plunger right there.
That
Bringing
is.
up old shit.
That's right. I completely forgot about that. But that's in her mind. She's like, he
Oh,
left.
absolutely.
He left.
No.
Even though she was
No, I
like,
didn't blame
hey, I
you.
need you to take
You
your
already,
mom.
you
I
already heard the
wasn't-
story about him, right?
What's
I
that?
wasn't mad at you. I was
Oh.
just, I was hurting that night. I needed help.
This dude behind the camera is like, so I'll just drop you off at the hospital when you're going to have the kid.
If you want to be divorced by the time you get back,
No, drop-off's a hard word.
Oh, okay. Well, he said,
Yeah,
so I'm going to go
did
home.
think I would
like,
go home eventually.
at like
come
night,
back.
and you just stay here, and I'll see you in the morning.
I don't know how these things work. It's my
she's
first
gonna
child.
need help. I was cut open and I could barely walk,
I thought
and I
that's
needed
what
help.
nurses were for.
Jay,
I
that's
did
why.
not know.
That's
That's-
why
First
my
of all,
wife
that's a
said.
great point. Like, why is Jason doing their job?
That's right.
Like, I don't understand that at all.
That's
Flashlights
why.
on.
That's why Robin sent your wife the list to take the Nerf gun. So when you're asleep on the couch, she goes, "Dang,
I bought a
Yeah.
twin air mattress for myself.
That's
you're
a
not
good-
going to have room for that."
That's a really
We'll
good
find out.
point. That's a
No,
really-
she saw it on TikTok. She
Yeah.
was like, "That's amazing."
Yeah.
And then, of course,
that would have come in handy.
I didn't
it's
sleep
Jay.
at all.
Oh yeah.
I didn't sleep at all.
Okay.
Jeff Hahn said
I
the
liked what
Brevard
Jason
County
said.
Republican Executive
Love
Committee
you,
voted
babe.
in favor of resolution classifying the COVID-19 vaccine as a bioweapon as part of a broader effort to ban vaccines from the state of Florida. He also says, well, Jason's boss said, it's okay, Summer. People who have met you in person know who the boss is.
That is for sure.
There you go. Robin Rouse Christopher, watch what you say.
Oh man,
She
What did
used
you
the
say?
full name. You're in
you
trouble.
Christopher-
trouble.
I think she's referring to
Christopher
when
Jacob Rouse. I don't know
What-
what your
what-
middle name is.
when I said I
Sounds
did
like
all
a
the
good one.
work. I'm not a Jacob.
You call segments like this the popcorn time.
You need the Michael Jackson gif of him eating the popcorn.
UFO for the hose asks us question here. Are you guys following the Jordan Peterson situation any? I am not.
Yes.
The court ruled he must undergo re-education. I don't know what this
The
is.
what? I don't
Regarding
know what
his
it is
use
either.
of pronouns,
No. So
Say, what was the name again?
Jordan
it's
Peterson.
Jordan Peterson. So
Jordan
here's what's
Peterson.
going on with it.
All I know, if your last name is Peterson, you probably got some issues. You're either killing
Do you
your family.
know who Jordan Peterson
I
is?
like Jordan Peterson. The things
Right.
he has to say.
He's a clinical psychologist.
He's very famous, Jay. You know, you need to look him up. Anyways, so Jordan Peterson has been the country of Canada has directed him to get something like communication training for social media or something along those lines. But you know, they've been trying to. He's been one of the biggest. The reason that he became famous a couple of years ago was Canada made it a law that you had to use people's pronouns. And, you know, the first videos of Jordan Peterson that came out was like, I will not be compelled. I will not yield to compelled speech, more or less.
That's the perfect.
It's
There's the perfect
absolutely
line.
true.
This is from a day ago.
I'm being professionally canceled by moral stance on trans butchery.
For my moral stance on trans
Yeah.
butchery.
So, you know,
that's the perfect way to put it.
Do they even have freedom of speech in Canada?
I was about to say they're pretty
They have maple
communist up there.
syrup, but I didn't know.
and Poutine.
Clearly not. Clearly not. But, you know, again, you know, the idea is that freedom of speech and many other things are, you know, a natural right. They're not given by governments.
I'm just saying Canada doesn't believe in that. Though.
Well, they don't have.
They
the
don't
First
have
Amendment.
that. They don't have anything equivalent to that, I believe, in their personal constitution. But, you know, they're basically a leftover piece of monarchy. I don't even know what they're, you know, they got a weird government to begin with.
And they got
It's
Fidel
parliamentary.
Castro's son running everything.
Fidel Castro's son,
Hey.
freaking all that good stuff.
I'm serious. Have you looked at the pictures?
Yeah, Jay, if you haven't listened to any Jordan Peterson stuff,
I
you
haven't.
should.
No, I don't know anything about him.
It's pretty
You
powerful.
got plenty of time at work, Jay. Listen.
He's number one. He's very entertaining, very thought provoking.
Gabby Rios over on this thing, Rumble. Thank you.
He thanks himself for thinking of it. Thank you,
absolutely. No, for reading it.
Brandon.
Thank you.
Brandon, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
The globalists are using conspiracies like mRNA foods. Wow, that's hard. mosquitoes, UFOs, Q, and flat Earth to create fear and chaos. Sadly, it is working. Honestly, I mean, if you're really digging into fear from, I mean, mosquitoes, they suck, right? But I mean,
Well,
Q, flat Earthers. I mean, come
so
on.
Now
Earth's-
they're
the Earth's not
engineered.
flat?
Now they're engineered mosquitoes released by the Bill Gates Foundation.
Oh, that's right.
You know, the Earth has the ice wall around it, and you can't get out any farther.
Look, folks, I think
what I thought.
conspiracies
That's what I
are a
read.
thing. And we've said that many times.
they're a conspiracy. They're there for a reason.
Yeah, and conspiracies are taking place, and again, we've been convinced that anytime you talk about that, the term conspiracy theory in itself is a pejorative that is designed to keep you from talking about real things. Some real conspiracy things that we've talked about in the past is the laptop, the Hunter laptop,
Kennedy.
Gary just is like,
We're just
Kennedy.
throwing names out there. Okay.
No,
things like the moon landing, all those things.
100%. Coronavirus.
We talked about that.
But the reality is that we do have people in government and other very powerful folks that are in society that are doing things behind the scenes, and the fact is we don't know what we don't know, and we need to be more aware of this, and hopefully there again is a contingent of people out there, including myself. Like I never thought that we would have people that are that would be so intent in taking our rights the way that they are, or I at least thought that they would show some restraint and not reveal themselves for the true tyrants that they are. That kind of exposes their
Well,
agenda.
I think they've already been testing the waters so long that they feel comfortable because they're like, oh, there will be no pushback really.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, we saw in COVID where it was right. I mean, again, we had people being arrested on the beach. We had, kids being arrested where they're filling up, skate parks full of sand. They wanted to crush everybody. And again, it was a matter of increasing pain as much as possible so that they would go against this president. I really believe it was a major part of it. I'm sure there's some other additional objectives that they were trying to meet, but I think that one of the biggest ones, without a doubt, was getting rid of Trump. I think he's a real threat.
That's
to the
the
establishment.
honestly, today when I saw a new headline of a new group filing a lawsuit against him to block him from the ballot, I forget what state it was today, but when the headline popped up, my immediate thought was they are so scared of this man.
They are.
That was my immediate thought. They are just
I
they're
think
scared of this
I
man.
think he disrupts the bureaucratic elitist class in our government like nothing has ever
Which
done
is
before.
crazy when you think about him disrupting the elitist class, because of all the money and stuff he has, he would normally be part of that.
But I don't think he needs it from that portion of the elitist class.
And yeah,
That's
you're
what I
right.
think. He
And
doesn't need that.
I mean, elitist and financially, not
Correct.
necessarily
Well,
in other ways.
And I
Well,
guess
I bet in other
let me
ways.
let me rephrase that.
More illegitimate ways.
Let
I'm sure
me
he has some
rephrase
too.
that at all. Not elitist, but we have an ideological, bureaucratic, whatever that's in charge of our government right now. The
Sure.
president's not in charge. We saw that
Oh,
under Trump.
hell no.
We saw
And-
where he's telling them to get rid of, take troops out of Syria, and behind the scenes they're leaving troops intentionally, hiding that from the president.
And
the
I've made this
commander-in-chief.
point before, and I think what they don't like and where Donald Trump succeeds in this and not being part of that puppet show is that the man has too much pride to be told what to do by other people, and that
It's a huge part of that.
And-
The other thing, I just think he's ideologically opposed to him. I think that's the real problem.
maybe
and
perhaps,
he's, and
but
he's mentally sound.
And he can't be bought.
Sure, that's
bought.
a good point. He can't be bought off.
No,
but I
he's got
honestly think
everything.
the man just has too much pride to be told what to do, and that benefits us in a lot of ways.
It does. I mean, let's be honest. I think 100%. All these leftists call Trump a narcissist. I don't disagree with
Yeah, I
that.
was gonna say I kind of.
I don't disagree with
yeah.
that.
He's
Can-
full of himself.
100%.
Can that be beneficial? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So it is what it is. I mean, both things can be true. Is that he's
That's
fighting for his
straight
country.
BDS right there.
He's fighting for this country. He is a narcissist. I think he is more ideologically aligned with the rest of,
Now
or at least
I
middle of
think
America.
now he is. I don't know that he always was that way, just
No.
of interviews I've seen in the past. But
Right.
now I feel like he's so bought into it, and he actually does believe it, and he pursues that. But part of that playing into it is that sense of like, well, I'm going to win, and I'm going to be the best, and
Yeah.
I have the pride to, and I'm going to do this my way because I'm Donald Trump.
I think there's some of that. When I look at some of the old interviews from Donald Trump, that clearly he's kind of talking about some more Democrat policies. He's even talked about abortion and things like that. He appears to me somebody that hasn't really thought those things out at the time, and I'm sure he was so consumed with
Or
making
lived
money.
it practically.
But I
Oh,
think he was.
yeah.
I think he was someone that genuinely loved our country.
No, I don't
I
disagree
think he's
with
just
that.
a common sense guy, is what it comes to.
I think there's some of
And
that.
that never concerned him. So he's
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean?
He's gonna go.
It didn't affect him in his personal life.
Exactly.
So he had to.
When he's on Oprah, he's gonna be diplomatic.
Oh yeah. Deflect and
I
whatever.
don't think Trump has ever been diplomatic.
No, like I said, when you
Diplomatic
see,
for Trump.
Right.
Yeah.
That's an
watch
oxymoron.
watch his interview with Oprah from like either the late '80s or early
He
90s.
definitely was.
He was very.
Well, he was a Democrat back
He was
then.
careful about what he was saying.
That's what I mean.
Well, he was from New York. What do you
but he was
expect?
also
Right.
very diplomatic about
Jay.
what he was
For
saying.
sure. Right? I mean, that's legit.
And that's another thing true
is.
today. Like
I had to convert my wife.
you could believe the exact same thing as a Democrat from the 80s or even early 90s, and then you would be a hard right Republican today if you maintained that
You're right.
and didn't morph along with the rest of the Democratic Party.
No, you.
For some reason, I just thought of this, but we were in the ice cream aisle buying ice cream the other day. and
What
we were-
kind of? What
You
kinds
were.
you get?
I would never
Well,
buy
we-
that.
Hold on.
you get?
Hold on. What
This body
kind?
is a
What
So you
Yeah.
gotta tell us what flavor.
Turkey Hill homemade vanilla, all natural line.
Sheesh, the ones with the
Okay,
big
I'm
black
in.
dots of home.
No,
No.
no,
Of vanilla. Oh, that's the
the
best.
French
not the
Vanilla
vanilla
bean.
bean. No,
Vanilla
let me
bean.
tell you
Oh,
what.
my
You got to get
God.
the Turkey Hill, but it's got to be the all natural line. So it's just all cream, sugar, like real
Oh,
stuff.
my God.
And get the homemade
Oh my God.
vanilla.
Hold on.
Just
hold on.
Jay's
Hold
feet's-
on,
his
everybody.
feet's moving real
Jason's-
fast.
Everybody, you guys need to know about this, all right?
Oh,
This
my
is
God.
something that I had just learned, okay?
Jay, I made
And-
Robin run
and-
down the other night and get
And
to it.
I did not know
Is this the Dairy Queen
this
thing?
ever existed in my life.
You're welcome, boys.
Chris
Listen
over
to
here
this.
introduced me to this, and listen very, very carefully because
Listen.
you are about to get learned. Okay, Chris, what are these things called again?
These are at your local Dairy Queen.
Yes.
It is a quart of ice cream. You
Listen.
pull up to the drive-through. You go, I would like 2 mystery quarts, please.
A mystery quart.
Mystery
I worked
quart.
at Dairy Queen, never heard no mystery
Me too.
quart.
You
Never
pull
heard of
up
it.
and say
Never heard of it.
mystery
Mystery.
quart.
It's a
Might
West
be in
Virginia.
West Virginia.
I was about to
It
say
is.
it's
I
a
don't
West
know.
Virginia thing.
Yeah, you can get them in Maryland, Virginia. I've confirmed that. You pull up and they give you a quart. Well, this is about a quart. Maybe this is a little smaller, and it is like $4. But the
Yeah.
best thing is, what happens is if they make something and mess it up, they just throw it in the quart. And then the next thing they throw it in the quart. The next thing they mess up, they throw it in the quart. So you get this thing, you open it up, take
You
the
have
lid off.
no idea what it is.
It's like chocolate chip cookie dough. You start eating it, and then you get a little
Also, it's
farther, and then you're
strawberry.
like, oh,
Strawberry cheesecake.
cheesecake. And you eat, and then you find a little farther, there might be a hot dog in there. You're like, yes, a hot dog. And then you go a little far. I had a hot dog in mine once. I mean, I can't complain. It was like $3-4. But our buddy Matt, he's been on the show before, he had one. They took a cone, I guess they messed up, and shoved the cone in there as he's going through his ice cream.
Oh, yeah.
He
I
had
had
the
a cone
full
in mine.
Yeah, Jay, it was a full ice cream cone. And but for $3 or $4 at Dairy Queen,
I'm telling you,
we
you
bought
are
one.
missing out.
We
It is
were
the most fun
we were
thing
on
to do.
Jay's deck, and I've never seen him drive the Tesla so fast to Dairy Queen in Inwood to get 4 mystery quarts, and then we had my son mix them up, and then we chose them, and then
Yeah.
devoured all 4 of them on the deck that night.
Anyway, we were in the ice cream aisle, regardless of what flavor we chose. And Gary brought up Ben and
wondering.
Jerry's, and they were leftist bull crap. So of course we didn't buy Ben and Jerry's. And Jackson's like, Mommy, what are we again? What's the C word? I was like,
Constipated.
Conservative. He's like, yeah, that's it. We're conservative. I was like, yes, baby.
Well, since we're talking about indulgences and delicious things, folks, if you haven't had this Promised Land chocolate milk,
Oh, but wait, you got to get
Oh,
the
God.
dark chocolate whole.
Dear God.
You got to get the
Almost got
dark
attacked.
chocolate whole milk one.
gotta get the dark chocolate.
Not, not
is
sponsored.
It is. It's sponsored.
Oh,
It's the
is it?
official-
I wish.
It's the official drink
I
of
wish.
Paramount Tactical Solutions.
Promised Land,
Promised
dark
Land.
chocolate?
That is like
It's the one
nothing
that
you've
Gary
ever
let you
had.
try that night.
I know.
Over
I'm gonna
here.
see where I can buy it though.
Food Line.
You can buy it at the
Oh,
store.
at the food dog.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
not cheap, but don't get the 2% light.
$60 for a 52-ounce 6 case.
What I can tell you is anybody watches this,
Cutting
there's
in my
a
alcohol.
clinical psychologist that watches. They're like, all these
Clinical psych-
MFers are ADD is out.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna start getting some sort of medicine in the mouth.
I'm sorry. This was
That's
a
it.
good
Is that your
spot.
mouth?
This is a good shout out. People
That
needed
one.
to know about these mystery courts.
Mystery
We're
courts.
going back to that, huh?
You really needed to.
You're
Mariah
doing it,
Grosh,
you know.
welcome.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey,
Mariah?
hey.
Why are we jumping faster and jumping faster? Why are we jumping higher and running faster, Jason? Over for the mystery court? I don't know.
You'll jump higher and run faster if you eat a mystery quart. I guess.
Absolutely.
Oh,
That's-
In
100%.
West Virginia,
Especially
they
you get a
have
hot dog going in it.
most of them have a hot, gooey methamphetamine center.
Ooh, that or it's laced with a little,
Especially in West Virginia.
little laced with a little cocaine.
Man, that's methed up.
You sound like Mike Tyson.
I like how we go. Hey, I like how we go from the country is doomed to like immediately like
To ice
let's go eat
cream.
some ice cream.
Hey, listen, you got to drown your sorrows in food, right?
Oh man.
You might as well
Folks,
live
get
your
yourself
last
some Promised
days.
Land.
Yeah.
All right. Well, sorry for that little detour down mystery.
The
court
only
lane.
thing I found about mystery courts online was from 2011. It said it was buy one get one free mystery courts.
What?
That would have been. I would have
Oh my
stopped my.
God.
And that was on Dairy Queen's Facebook from 2011.
I'd have rolled around twice.
Taking a quick break from dairy products for just a second.
Sorry,
here.
me and Jay are with child.
Hold on,
So.
scroll back up because David Roberts. That's an excellent point that we need to talk about. Right there. Click that one, David Roberts. Click it.
Click it.
The headline on the video I watched says COVID-19 as a scam was the biggest transfer of wealth to the rich elites. So
What did you
That I believe.
That was another thing that I think came about by accident. That was a opportunity that wasn't missed.
Yeah, that's 100%.
Shutting down all the mom and pop, destroying middle America,
Making
and
you go to
while
Walmart.
we're keeping Walmart and these
Target.
huge, while all these other people are just going bankrupt left and right.
Yeah.
You know, in Amazon's got to go. You can buy everything you want from Amazon.
Bezos not poor.
It's crazy that we weren't addressing that in real time in a very serious way. Like, you know, it's crazy that we have governments, both state, local, and federal, that feel they have the ability to shut down, to choose whose business is
deemed essential.
is deemed essential and is deemed okay to stay and exist, while you have all these multi-billion-dollar companies that are just raking in all the dough because we now have centralized buying stations, essentially, right?
But you know what? To me, our business is essential no matter what we do because it's how I feed my kids. It is essential to me. It's
Everybody's
essential
business
to you.
is essential to them.
Yeah.
I mean, and the fact of the matter is every American should have been out in the streets, you know, protesting the fact that the government feels like they have the authority to shut down any business while allowing similar businesses
but
to
they were
remain
so
open.
good
You
at
don't
the
know what you
messaging,
don't
though.
know, though. You don't know what you
Exactly.
don't know.
Well,
I'm with Jay on this one.
Yeah.
That
What do
and
you
they were
mean?
so good at the messaging in the
Right.
early days where they're like literally, oh, these people are
killing
dying,
everybody,
it's
yeah.
killing everybody. They had everybody. Even I was like, man, this crap's kind of scary, you
That's
know?
what I mean. Another shutdown, I don't think can happen again. It's not
Because now
possible.
we know, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well, we'll see. We will definitely see. I hope we don't have another COVID-19
I hope people
situation
weren't
where
briefed on it.
I hope people that are waking up, they realize what's going on, and are just not going to comply with any of the nonsense. I know I'm
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, no, I won't.
and,
That's ridiculous.
I've already seen a few people around, even in this area, wearing masks.
Yep,
again.
sure have.
I'm
That's
like-
everywhere you go, though. You know.
No,
I still see people
I
wearing them in
will
their
say
car.
this. I haven't seen anybody wearing a mask in months.
Oh,
and
I see
and
it
just in
every
the
day.
last couple.
I'm wearing a
couple
mask next
days,
week to the show.
You'll be banned.
No, I'm gonna wear like a full, like old school Iraqi gas mask.
No, you're banned.
We'll be like this all the time.
In my side by side driving over here with it.
Yeah. So, anyways,
Banned.
folks,
All right,
you know, stay woke out there.
it's coming.
Woke in a good way.
It's coming, boys.
Stay
Just
woke.
and girls. Don't comply. Don't. That's all I can say.
Somebody brought this up, and I think
Don't.
this is true. Like, the economy is clearly not good, right? We know that, even though the the Biden administration is trying to say, groceries are up like 40-50%.
Interest rates are up.
Gas, fuel is up
Gas
crazy
is
amounts.
$3.65 in Virginia.
I don't
now.
know.
With
I
that,
don't know
with
what gas
all
is.
of that being
Shut up,
said,
Jay.
I do think we're probably the most stable that we're going to see as far as an economy for probably a while. And this is the time to make sure that you're preparing, ammo, guns, training, all those things. And I'm not even just talking about just from us. I'm just saying now is a good time to prepare. We have this could be a small window of stability to where you have some money to put toward that, prepping to make sure that you're prepared. And we're going to have Jeff Hahn again. We were talking about this, a few weeks ago on the show, but Jeff Hahn and I have had some conversations since then. But making sure that you have a couple weeks worth of food, you have some sort of water supply, and you have a pace plan for all those things: primary, alternate, contingency, emergency, different things like that, folks. I think now is the time to prepare, and be thinking about those things: med training, med gear, all those things that when things go to hell in a handbag, those resources aren't available to you. We need to learn to be as independent as possible. That's what being an American is. It's being independent and not being 100% reliant on 911 or other social services, and just being able to make things happen on your own and within your own family.
And like we talked about on the show that you're referring to a couple weeks ago, just doing small little things, one thing at the time. Like, I'm kind of stuck in the mindset of how I grew up, where I grew up on a little mini farm, and we had land and we had room and we had animals and we had a centralized family to help with all those chores and tasks, and to do or reproduce that, which is what we're basically talking about. To reproduce that now in my current situation feels like such a huge undertaking.
Sure.
And you just got to get past that and do what you can do. Maybe you can't do that much right now. Maybe that situation will change, or maybe you do a few things, or maybe you do one thing 1 week and just do something.
Well, like Jay said, there's people keeping chickens inside their houses and apartments in New York and stuff. And
There are, yeah.
No, I
gotta
know. And that's what we should do. We should start out. We should grab some chickens.
We're not keeping them in the house.
But besides that, even if
keep
you're
them in the
not,
basement.
what I'm saying at a minimum, even if you're not, you don't have the ability to do any farming, keep chickens,
Sure.
livestock, or anything else, folks, at a minimum, have some food in your house, like some survival type food. Have the ability to store water, have the ability to collect water, have the ability to filter water. Definitely have guns and ammo. When things hit the fan, at least you may not have some of those things,
But guns and
and
ammo are
ammo will be able to get you there.
Yeah.
We'll make sure that you'll be able to protect yourself, and they are definitely currency. You can trade. You can you can get 6 new wives with a case of ammo.
Buy and keep
an
gold too.
apocalypse.
Gold is a good thing.
I would not trade for that.
6 new wives.
I do
Would you look at Jason's comment? I really like Jason tonight. He's on it, by the way. He's
Oh,
got
yeah.
all kinds of No, go down.
Down. Here we go.
Jesus,
You talking
all he
about-
does is immediately.
Gary's
Listen,
over here
you
trying to
gotta
get
give me a
new
better
wives.
house.
Yeah, you better keep this wife. Look at this. See, I'm the glue.
There is
She is the
absolute
gorilla
truth to
glue
that.
There
that
is
holds it
no
together.
doubt to that, Jason. That is for sure.
I trained her so well.
Oh my God.
I have, I just feel like between the business development that I've been able to pour into her, the character development that I've been able to pour into
character
her.
development. Oh, I had no character before.
I am so proud of what I've done over here.
I mean,
I've created almost the perfect human being.
Almost.
I
You're
never
this
was a
close.
brunette
Like Bill,
actually
like,
before.
like Bill Burr says, for some reason we're always working on me though.
You need a lot of work. You need a lot of work.
Why are we always working on me?
Why are we working on me? I know.
Because you've already perfected me. I'm perfect. So
Like Jeff Hunt said, it could be as simple as buying a couple cans of bean each time you go to the store. 100%.
Look for the
and Jeff,
sales.
I know we talked about it before. Jeff had a hurricane down there. Was prepping for that, and I'm glad to hear you guys didn't get anything serious down there, on at least at your location, Jeff. So I do need to have that conversation again and have you on again soon, Jeff. We'll talk more about that. That's something that I definitely want to continue to address and implement in our lives, as well as give you guys information where you can implement some of those stuff. Well, folks, I think we have
reach
to
the end of the internet.
We have reached the end of the internet.
Another thing. Buy gold and silver bullion.
Buy definitely silver too.
I heard
Yes,
silver's
yes.
undervalued.
Yes, yes,
silver's
they need
undervalued,
it.
but somebody brought up a good point with this the other day too. They were talking about, silver's the way to go because it's easier to trade with and buy stuff like,
Right, because it's not so high priced.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
But I have gold bullion and silver bullion. In
But
the
you know
gun
what
safe.
people will trade
Good.
golden
Good to
bullion
know.
for?
I
Guns
can't
and
get
ammo. Guns and ammo.
Unless you know my anniversary date.
Oh, I definitely do.
I'll
All
ask
right,
Robin.
folks. Well, again, we always appreciate you guys showing up and adding to the conversation. Yeah, good times. Hey, if you haven't signed up, if you have the ability to, make sure you go to our last med course this weekend. Make sure you like, subscribe, throw a comment down below. Yeah. Oh, folks, also make sure that you're signed up for our newsletter on what's it called? Substack.
The
There you
internet.
go. On the internet. Make sure you do that. We send out a lot of good information there. But we really appreciate you guys. We love you guys. Stay safe. Continue to be great patriots. But until next time, stay armed, stay ready. We'll talk to you soon.